3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Taking less is going to happen within 2 weeks. We'll know who's right about this. I think Joe Burrow is going to take a pay cut.
Yeah, driving to Cincinnati?
I don't want to drive to Cincinnati on this one. I think we need something a little higher stakes than this.
What a bad bandwagon fan you are. Don't even want to drive to Cincinnati to see your beloved Reds.
All the driving bets are always one way because you don't like driving long. You don't even like driving an hour and a half somewhere to
I don't even like commuting into the office. But I do it for you guys.
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't want to be home.
You're like, Perloff, why don't you drive to El Paso? And I'm like, you just complained because you had to go from North Jersey to another part of North Jersey.
I do not like to be in the car.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Oh, we have an update on the big show bet. Do we ever? But we have to get to that a little bit later in the show. Hey, welcome, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It is Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio. Turns out losing Travis Kelce is too much for even the great, mighty Andy Reid to overcome in 48 hours. And that was the difference last night. I don't want to hear about Chris Jones not being there. I don't want to hear about any of that. The reason why the Chiefs lost last night is because Travis Kelce was not on the field and no one else could step up in his absence. The drops, Perloff, were egregious. Every one of those receivers let Patrick Mahomes down last night.
I totally disagree.
On what part?
I think the Chiefs easily could have won that game if Andy Reid was on planet Earth with his play calling.
Oh, now he's not the genius.
Well, he's a genius in the first 15. That is for sure. Actually, last night, I don't understand. They snatched a win They snatched a loss out of the jaws of victory last night. They had that game won at home.
Yep.
They just refused to do anything that made any sense whatsoever. Okay, yes, not having Kelsey killed them. There's no doubt about it. Not having Chris Jones probably hurt them as well. But still, Andy Reid had to get creative to lose that game.
He did.
I mean, the Chiefs kept driving down.
What is he thinking?
2nd and 2 is not a desperate situation where you can't get a first down for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think they got so cocky, they assumed there's no way we're going to lose this game at home. When they went up 14-7 .5, I mean, I think everybody's like, oh, okay, here we go. It's a Chiefs thing is happening. And I think the Chiefs thought it was happening, and they just got so cute with their play calling, so arrogant almost. It was not quite the ring around the rosy, but they were still doing trick plays when just a handoff to the right would have won the game.
Just simplify the whole thing. You're so right. The direct snap to Blake Bell, hands off to Rashee Rice. Like, why are you doing that stuff? I get why Dan Campbell, while I didn't agree with it, doing the fake punt that early. I mean, I don't want to play the results and not the process here. I was against that in the moment. I'm not even going to pretend like I thought that was a good idea. I thought it was a terrible idea. But I understand if you are the underdog Lions coming in to Kansas City in a hostile environment, you feel like you have to pull out some kind of trick. You got to do something to keep your team in the game. So I understand it. I never understand when Andy Reid does it. And I'll be honest, for as poorly as the receivers were for the Kansas City Chiefs, didn't help that your 2 new tackles also both got dinged for penalties on that final drive. You give the ball to Patrick Mahomes with 2:30 left on the clock in a 1-score game. I'm assuming that the Chiefs are winning that game. I thought they were all the way up until the 4th and 25 that somehow they went for.
Right. Even the Chiefs, everybody assumed they were going to win. I think the Chiefs assumed they were going to win. But the little things, the points they left on the board, that's not what winning teams do. They obviously had all these opportunities. Here is probably my biggest problem, and maybe this is something I've never been a head NFL coach. I don't know what you're supposed to do. All of America knew Kadarius Toney had lost his confidence. That was completely clear.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of deserved to lose his confidence after that horrible performance.
Yeah, he dropped the ball, and Brian Branch out of Alabama, who I wanted the Eagles to pick, returned it for a pick 6. Don't put Toney back in the game. He's been suffering with a hamstring. Is it a hamstring?
Yep.
He hasn't practiced much. Don't put him back in the game. So what do? You give it to him on a key 3rd down on a jet sweep. Or sorry, it was 2nd and 1. Give it to him on a jet sweep. He loses 4 yards. He did not look sharp with that run at all. Then at the end of the game, he drops a pretty good Patrick, maybe a scunch behind him, but he definitely should have had it.
Which would have put him in field goal range.
Field goal position to win the game, and you shouldn't have had Toney out there. You have a lot of these middling wide receivers. Throw one of the other guys out there.
Wait a minute, can't have Toney out there. He was like wide receiver 1 last night or 2. MVS had 2 catches. Like, these guys, they didn't have anything. That's why the Kelsey injury was everything. They felt like they couldn't afford to take Toney off the field, even though he was killing them.
No. Well, they should have thrown the ball to Sky Moore more.
He had no catches.
Yeah, because they didn't throw it to him. They were
3 targets, no catches.
They were not throwing it to him. They really could have thrown to Justin Watson a lot more. He was really productive.
Yeah.
Every time they threw it to Noah Gray, something good happened. There was plenty of targets. They just, first of all, Mahomes was running around like crazy, which was fun to see. But I think the game plan just wasn't there. Just hand the ball to Isaiah Pacheco. Just do something simple. On the other hand, and I can't believe I'm saying
credit to the Lions defense.
Credit to everything about the Lions. The Lions were the smarter team by far. They took the air out of the ball. Yes, they were going against a Chris Jones-less Chiefs defense. It was interesting to me that they were like, well, we'll take 3-yard carries and punt the ball. They just wanted to control the game. Dan Campbell coached a really smart game overall. He made some mistakes, but I think he set the tone. That's how you got to beat the Chiefs. You got to slow the game down. And Jared Goff, does he ever make mistakes anymore? Like what's the last time he threw a pick? Did they say this is his 9th game in a row without a pick? He is. I'm sorry, Maggie. He's good.
Listen, I'm not saying he's not good, but there was a moment when the Chiefs kicked the field goal and they go up 17-14, and then the Lions go 3 and out. And I'm like, oh, it's night time. And then to the credit to the Lions, they end up coming back later and scoring a touchdown. But I thought it was over then, because that's normally what happens with the Chiefs. Like, you go up a score, then you screw up and go 3 and out, and then they go night.
I thought it was basically over 14-7 at the end of the half. It's not a game the Chiefs normally blow, but I think the Lions, to their credit, really wanted to keep it close and thought, you know what? The Chiefs are without Kelsey. They're not going to be explosive. So let's play it like we're playing against a mortal offense. And it was a good long-term strategy.
The only thing is about the Lions. I thought, listen, credit to the Lions. I'm not taking anything away from them. This is awesome for a team that had all that hype to go and sneak out of Kansas City with a win. Like, unbelievable what that does for the team. But I didn't think they were, like, amazing.
No, but that's because they never threw the ball in early downs. They were playing really conservative. I mean, they're handing David Montgomery Mr. 3.8 yards per carry from formerly the
Mr.
Bears.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady. They opted not to, I don't understand. I mean, honestly, you saw what the Eagles did to that Chiefs secondary. I don't know why the Lions weren't just throwing the ball downfield. But the Lions don't have a lot of outside targets. But they really slowed it. It was all on purpose, I think. They were like, let's make it a close give Mahomes any time to get rhythm going.
It was a head scratcher, really, for the Chiefs. Even if you knew, we all knew that it was going to be different without Kelsey. And then you have Chris Jones sitting in a suite in the stadium, which we knew was going to happen because yesterday Carrington Harrison joined us from Kansas City and told us he's going to be in the building. But that was almost like taunting the team. Like, he's sitting there. He's got the two agents on either side of him, both on the phone. It was like Ari Gold might as well have been there from Entourage. And just come down. Just come down. Just get this thing settled and get on the field. To me, it was like you were taunting your own team. I don't know if you meant it like that, but it felt like you're trolling your own team and fans because you're in the building, you're clearly perfectly healthy, and because of this contract, you're not on the field.
Right. I think as a show, we don't knee-jerk like to support ownership over players. Usually we try to support the players.
So we're pro-labor around here.
But Chris Jones signed the biggest contract ever for a defensive tackle when he signed it 4 years ago, and he's due $20 million this year. Do you have to be in the stands? Let's figure out some other way to get a raise here.
Well, I think you want to be there because they were, like, celebrating the Super Bowl team, but it's like, I don't know, maybe something that everyone could have thought about a week ago. It was just very awkward to have him there, I thought.
Also, he should probably be out there. He's supposed to get paid $20 million. He's costing himself $1 million a game or something crazy like that. I don't totally understand his strategy. He should have held in and not held out. Whatever it is, his strategy is hurting the team. And the funny thing is, he looked happy at first, but then they cut to him a couple other times. I think that he's going to rethink this strategy.
Well, they're going to need him. They go to Jacksonville next week. I
don't think you're going to wait till week 8, which he had promised earlier in the offseason. Travis Kelce is my bigger worry. They said during the game that he tried it in a pool and didn't have power. When you don't have power in a pool where everything is easy, is he going to be ready for Jacksonville?
Well, 10 days of a layoff, so that works in the Chiefs' favor. And I was very much of the opinion, don't play Kelsey. It's not worth it. And I'll stand by that, even as brutal and painful as that loss was for the Chiefs last night. I didn't think the receivers would be that bad. How?
They weren't that bad. He was that bad.
Who?
Kadarius Toney.
Well, Toney was bad, but also like Sky Moore drop balls. They all had drops.
But not. I don't think they were.
Tony was the
drops.
most egregious.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think there were bad drops except for the Kadarius Toney stuff. I think Mahomes missed a couple people too. I don't think he was perfect, but they still moved the ball. Well, they had 2nd and 2 on 3 straight drives and were shut down on those particular drives because they were getting so fancy and doing these little jet sweeps or doing.
He kept Mahomes under 300 yards. Like, you got to feel great about that.
Yeah, because you know why how they did that. Because they ran the ball.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. That's how you stop an opposing quarterback. You run the ball. Maggie, I say that all the time.
You do say it all the time.
All the time. Even at random times that make no sense. Like at lunch.
You pick up your phone and you're just like, run the ball. It's like, is this Perloff?
I'd say the Eagles probably should have done more of that in the Super Bowl. You really have to control the game against the Chiefs. Let me ask you this. We didn't talk about this pre-show. If you did pick the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl, which you did not, you picked the Jags.
Yeah. Which
is going to look good after they kill the Chiefs in week 2. Would you feel less confident after last night?
Yes, definitely. Because
it's just, even though it's 1 week, I know
it's 1 week, but I don't trust Kadarius Toney anyway. Even though he did score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, I don't want to act like he's been this total zero. He just has been hurt a lot. He's a pretty eccentric guy, and last night was really bad. But I don't trust. Well, listen. Now you got to really hope and pray about Kelsey's knee. So, yes, I would be concerned.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're any closer with Chris Jones. It's like the same things. Do I think that all of a sudden Mahomes, as the season goes on, he's going to get more chemistry with the receivers. Like, sure, everyone still is pretty young as far as, like, in the system of Kansas City. It's not like guys who've been around the team for a really long time in terms of their receiving core.
But why do they play the other receivers? They have Sky Moore, Justin Ross, who was the star at Clemson, who got hurt, but looks good now. They have Richie James, who's kind of a role man. Rashee Rice, the rookie, looked great.
Yeah, but everyone's, like, young, or
Justin
if they're not young, they're young in the Chiefs system.
Justin Watson's been there a few years ago, went to Penn, for what that's worth. I think that they had other targets. He hit 13 guys in the game. There's plenty of guys to throw to. I mean, obviously, Kelsey is the one significant difference maker, but I would bench Tony. In fact, I said that after the drop that led to the pick six. I thought to myself, like, Reid cannot put him out there again. He is just shot for the day. That happens, Maggie. You know, players lose their confidence. Man, and to go to him in key situations in the fourth quarter, that's on Reid.
Just brutal. Brutal from Tony, brutal from Reid. I mean, tough one for the Chiefs. Want to hear what you think, 855-2124-CBS. Meanwhile, Dan Campbell, after the game in the Lions locker room, here's what it sounded like.
Let me ask you this. Did we expect to win that? We did, and that's exactly what we did. Because we built that way. And everything we talked about was how it went down. We had to be patient, man. Offense, we go all the way down and score. Defense, we need a takeaway. We come out at halftime, we get a huge takeaway. Told you guys, we're built for this. We can overcome anything as long as you guys just hang with it. We got a ton to clean up when we get back. But until then, enjoy this.
Oh, yeah.
Your future coach of the year, Dan Campbell, with the big-time victory speech and a lip just full of dip. This guy's going to be chewing pounds of that stuff this entire season.
Keyword patience. They're going to be like more of a run defense team, which is pretty good. I mean, that in that division too, the NFC North, that's going to work.
Little shocking though, considering they were one of the best offenses last year, like high flying, lots of scoring. You know, that's really where the confidence and all this hype around the Lions came from, was about the offense.
Yeah, can you think of one time Goff sort of just let a ball fly down the field?
I mean, nice throw to, what was it, Josh Reynolds?
No, I know, but like
like a bomb? No.
And that's against Kansas City.
I know.
I mean, listen, Steve Spagnuolo can do many things. He cannot stop the long pass, and they just didn't care.
Can Jared Goff throw the ball deep to begin with?
Goff's got a big arm, I think.
Have we ever seen evidence of this?
Jared Goff?
No, he must.
I feel like even with the Rams, there's a lot of like short to medium passes with a lot of run after catches and smart play calling. And
remember
like
the?
I don't remember him like throwing like deep bombs though.
The 54-51 game, I think he threw over the top like 5 times. I mean, any NFL quarterback can throw a bomb. Everybody can throw long. Anyway, Jared Goff, he's pretty good, Maggie. He's not a bad quarterback.
Let's waste no time. Quickly, let's go to our pal Jay's in Alabama up first here on CBS Sports Radio. What's up, Jay?
What's going on, y'all? I totally forgot the game was even on last night.
What?
But I'm not going to lie. I totally forgot. I've been stuck on college this whole week. I'm waiting on Colorado on Saturday. But
there we go.
I woke up this morning, and I swear to God, all over TikTok, all over Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now, all I see is NFL's rigged. NFL's rigged. And it's like, wait a minute. Can we get out of week one? That's like playoff talk right there. That's game one. Week one, can we get out of week one without all the tinfoil hat talk? But, I mean, you got to look at it.
Wait, hold on. What was rigged about last night that they finally called the false start on the right tackle?
No, what they were saying, okay, it was 4th and 20, went for it. He had 3 timeouts left.
Yeah.
He had 3 timeouts left. They were only down by 1. I think it was Kansas City minus 4.5. And I guess, I mean, these are like gamblers talking.
Oh, gotcha. The fact that Andy Reid decided to go for it on 4th and 20, they get blown a whistle for the false start. 4th and 25, he's like, go for it again. It's like, wow. I mean, how afraid are you? I guess, like, how afraid are you of your own defense that you don't feel like you can put them back out on the field when you have 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning? That was crazy.
Yeah, and how about the 3 4th and 2s you didn't go for it too? By the way,
it made no sense.
Andy Reid I love him. There is no idea what's happening in the last 3 minutes.
Do you have like low blood sugar or something at the end of the game?
I don't know. I mean, I think when he wins a tight game in the last 2 minutes, it's often very lucky. Because
Get that guy a kind bar or
he's not a
something.
great clock management guy.
Hey, you sound like that commercial, like you don't think right when you're hungry.
Yeah, right. Get him a Snickers. Hey, listen, honestly, Jay, great call. Good to talk to you. We just made Andy Reid $1 million if he'd want to do that. He could really cash in. 855-2124-CBS. We see you guys on the phones. Keep it coming. Want to get your thoughts on Kansas City. Also coming up, we mentioned that big show bet finally going to get paid off. Also, let's not deny the biggest game of the weekend, Perloff. Colorado Buffaloes hosting Nebraska. We'll get deep into that as well. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, you can stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports, or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. So I put everything on Andy Reid last night. I don't care if Chris Jones is in the stands or the Seahawks hat, which was weird. I don't care if Travis Kelce couldn't push off in the pool and decided not to show up, which was, as you pointed out, probably the smart move. Andy Reid still could have won this game. Give us a call, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Let us know, are we not praising the Lions enough? That might be an angle.
Let's go to Anthony. He's in Portland. Hey, Anthony, how are you?
I'm doing good. I think it's absolutely on the Chiefs. I mean, they only got the ball to Jerick McKinnon. They tried maybe twice. He only had one catch for 10 yards. At the end of the year last year, that was like their go-to guy.
And he had a drop.
I don't think they use it.
Everyone had drops.
Yeah, he did. But still, it just didn't seem like they were utilizing their guys. He's got to trust Sky more and some of these young guys. It just didn't seem like he was going to some of those key guys or new key guys.
Yeah, but I think the problem is, Anthony, and thank you for the call, I think he was trying to go to the key guys, and the key guys were letting him down in huge spots. And listen, there were a couple throws by Mahomes. Sure, we can nitpick, but I cannot put this loss on Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, he extended so many plays. I mean, his left tackle was lined up at fullback, which was very interesting, which helped him a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure that he ran around a lot of the pressure. I don't know if these were all drops, by the way, because a lot of them, like Mahomes, would run around and then hit the guy in the knee because he was being pressured by. So a lot of it.
It's weird to see Mahomes put him in the dirt. Like, that's not usually. Of all the things that happens, that's not usually one of them.
But he was often on the run. I mean, to me, maybe the receivers weren't open, but the whole thing just looked ugly for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like they just were creating magic by Mahomes. By the way, I know we'll get into a lot of other things, but Chris Collinsworth before the game saying America will finally get to see what Patrick Mahomes can do. Did you hear that line?
I didn't hear that.
Oh, gosh. It was the weirdest thing. Stu, did you hear that?
I did.
Yeah. And Mike, like, what the heck? So
I think he meant without Kelce. Right?
He might have meant that, but he never actually said that, and everybody's
Listen,
like,
it's week one for everybody, guys. Jeez, it's a tough crowd.
The Chiefs are going to use this when they win the Super Bowl. You know, all the doubters.
Yeah, I know this upstart guy, Patrick Mahomes. Ever heard of him? That's really funny. I thought one of the weird things that happened from the broadcast side was at the end of the game, Mike Tirico said, like, good win for the Lions, but it comes with an asterisk because there's no Kelce and no Chris Jones. I'm like, do we say that when there's other games where key guys are injured?
Well, yes.
It's not the quarterback?
We should pull that clip because Tirico did add more context after that. He went on to really sing the praises of the Lions.
No, I know.
He was sort of saying you might Michigan. Yeah. I mean, first of all, the low point of the whole broadcast was miking up Aiden Hutchinson's parents during the game. Nothing could be lower than that. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Hold on. Stu, you're laughing too. I don't understand why people were so offended by this.
Because
who cares?
It was so stupid. They went back to it 4 times. And, like, he's like, yeah, go get him, Aid, or go get him, Hutch. I'm like, that's what you're miking up for this game? Why did you give me a linebacker who could talk about a blown assignment or something? This was I don't want to cheerlead.
Talking about a blown assignment? What are you talking about?
The mother didn't say anything. She's like, wait, what just happened? That was her line on every single play.
It didn't really seem like she knew what was going on, but she's obviously probably watched more football than anyone in the stands between her husband and her kid. But I didn't understand. Like, there were a lot of people that seemed like deeply offended by, not offended, but just like, how could NBC do this? It's like, guys, it's TV.
Right, I know.
We try stuff all the time in TV. We remember how many times at the Super Bowl they put the camera on Kurt Warner's wife? I mean,
yeah, that was cool. This was so dumb.
I mean, why? Because they mic'd up the parents? I don't know.
Then they didn't. They should have mic'd up somebody else too. It just felt like a Aiden Hutchinson cheering session. I don't know. I was with everybody else. I'm like, why are they doing this? It's not working. It's like throwing the Kadarius Toney.
It just seemed like the parents, like they had to basically find them on a camera that was a telescope. I'm like, where are they sitting? Yeah. They seem very far from the field.
This is going to come off as totally shallow, and it's not meant to be like. No. I was like, that's Aiden Hutchinson's mom. She looks like she's 29 years old. Like, the first glimpse of Aiden Hutchinson's mom? She does not look old enough to be the mom.
I know.
Actually, I don't know. Yeah, so whatever.
It's a compliment to her. She looks very, very young.
Yeah.
All right. Well, two major things happened during the game beyond just the game. Number one, I don't know if this happened to anyone else, but YouTube TV charged me in the middle of the game for Sunday ticket or whatever. I was like, that's kind of brilliant. You're charging me right in the second quarter of this game because I have no time to think about how much money I'm spending on this. Let's just keep watching.
And what are you going to say? You're on your football high, so you're happy.
And also, like I know I'm paying. They've got me over a barrel.
But you already agreed to it, right?
I did. It was just like, when the charge comes through, I agreed to it, and it said in the fine print, but we're not going to charge you until September 7th.
Oh, I've already been charged. I didn't get a charge.
Yeah, it was a $500 charge last night. It came through.
Oh,
I just paid in the lump. I signed up late.
Okay, so that first of all, you have no TV problems. I don't even want to hear about it. At least you get ESPN.
I know.
So
I'm sorry. I know
get
you're
out of
blocked
here.
out with
That's the
Spectrum.
problem. With the other event, what's the other event?
The other event, and this is random because we usually don't see this outside of one very famous moment with Alex Rodriguez and the Yankees. But someone signed a major contract last night.
I'm not aware of this.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not. Joe Burrow gets announced that he is now the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And you guys, none of the numbers matter except for one. $55 million a year annually. That is more than Justin Herbert, which means Perloff is the big loser of the Maggie and Perloff show bet. He's got to eat a bowl of Skyline chili with no hands.
I'm looking, but I need my lawyer here. I need to look at the fine print. So it's an extension, right? So if you average out what he's making next year, what is it per year?
Well, if you did that with Justin Herbert, it would be much lower with Herbert, too. We can play this game all around. You're not wiggling out of this one.
Was Herbert? Do you know how these contracts are, Maggie? There's so much fine print. It's going to take us a week to sift through this. Who knows what's in there?
Yeah.
That may be a free car in there. I don't even know what Herbert got.
You know what? Take as much time as you need. Just knowing that this is going to come at some point is all the smiles that I need.
I honestly am not ready to concede this bet.
Oh, you're conceding.
I'm not ready to concede this bet. Not until I actually see the contract in my hands, get to study it.
And Joe Burrow's giving you $10,000. No. 5 years, $275 million extension.
Oh, that's funny money.
It includes $219.01 million guaranteed. Why the extra 10 grand there?
Yeah, everyone's been wondering about that. Yeah. So, by the way, and I was saying today that Justin Herbert's 218.75. So Burrow definitely came in there and said, I better get more guaranteed money than Herbert. Is there any doubt about that?
No, of course he did, which is what I always predicted was going to happen. I knew he was going to ask for more because everyone asks for more.
They gave him $45,000 more.
And boom, I am not eating the Skyline chili. Thank the Lord.
So all the team had to do is he didn't ask for anything else besides just give me $45,000 more than Justin Herbert guaranteed.
So I think there was some chirps on social media that he asked for a lot of injury guarantees. No kidding.
Oh, really? Yeah, that makes sense. It's curious that neither of those guys got to Deshaun Watson, who's 230. Nope. But what's the difference? Does it mean anything?
Well, I mean, this money is abstract. I mean, to me, it's like $200 million is crazy.
Yeah, but
monopoly money.
He did not do what Patrick Mahomes did, which I thought he might do, is do a 10-year deal so they can spread out the salary cap and re-sign T. Higgins. It doesn't look like they're going to re-sign T. Higgins, maybe, because they have to pay Higgins, Jamar Chase, the wide receiver in Cincinnati, and now Burrow. I don't know how it works, but they can't possibly. If T. Higgins wants $33, $34 million a year, how are they going to do that?
then they're probably going to say goodbye to T. Higgins. Because they're going to say they want to keep everybody, but if he really wants $34 million a year, is that right?
Didn't he say last year I want over 30 or something?
I mean, 30 is kind of the top end of what guys are getting paid.
Well, I think
and he's not even their wide receiver one.
I think he wants to become the highest paid wide. I don't know. I don't understand any of this money anymore. So, yeah, congrats to Joe Burrow. Congrats to you, but that is conditional until I get a hold of this contract.
Yeah, sure.
And we get to go over it. But you know how they are. I got to see the guarantees. There's a lot of things here.
No.
Before I dip my face into a bowl of chili, I want to make sure that Joe Burrow is really getting this money, Maggie.
Samter, you got one of your daughter's bibs that you can bring in? Maybe we can get a poncho here for our friend.
I mean, I have a few like old crappy ponchos from like old football games, but a Hello Kitty bib, there's nothing better.
Might need a couple. You know,
has a little pocket, so when you drop the food into it, it just lands. You know all about the
bib innovation.
Yeah.
And all that disgusting crap that falls from your kid's mouth now just gets collected in this one place. It's all gross. So, Perloff, would you like a bib? Would you like poncho? Would you like, I don't know, like one of those lobster bibs that you get?
I still have that plastic that we use for the barbecue challenge.
sauce, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like American Psycho style.
Probably put some of that down, too.
I've never had Skyline chili. Now, I understand it's very liquidy. It's like a little bit like soup. Have you ever had it?
Nope. And I'm not eating it this time.
So that's good.
I might never eat it ever.
How am I going to get the soup-like substance with no hands and no spoon?
That sounds like a you problem.
That laugh.
Forgive me. I know. I just can't wait. I can see it in my mind. Let's go to Chad. He's in Indianapolis, wants to talk about the Chiefs and their struggles. Hi, Chad.
Hey, how are you?
Excellent. How are you?
Good. Hey, I think it was like Kadarius Toney. It's like you see Justin Ross, who's been available for all of training camp and done well in preseason.
Yep.
And he fits the mold of an outside wideout. He plays true wide receiver. He's a hands catcher. And Toney is far from his being a hands catcher throughout his career. Throughout his career, he's been a phone booth underneath, east-west, razzle-dazzle kind of guy. And I don't know. It's kind of like practice should result in reps. And I think the Chiefs botched this one by giving Toney too many reps, probably because he had the trust of Mahomes. And with Sky Moore, I'm getting a Mecole Hardman deja vu that Mahomes does not trust him in critical situations. And so that's my take on it.
Yeah, Chad, it's a good breakdown. I mean, and you're echoing a lot of the things that, and thank you for the phone call, something that Perloff said. Kadarius Toney. I merged his first and last name. Pardon me. I'm on a high because Perloff's going to have to eat the Skyline chili. Should have been benched. But I think they felt like they couldn't take what should have been a key contributor off the field because of Kelsey's injury.
I don't know why. He brings up a great point about Justin Ross. Justin Ross is everybody's August superstar every year. Justin Ross looks great in camp. Justin Ross had one play that looked really good. I don't understand. Is it that hard to replace Kadarius Toney? You have 9 receivers on the roster.
Yeah, there is something about there have been times when Toney can get like into the open space and stuff, and he is kind of like I'm with Chad about the razzle dazzle. Definitely.
How many catches does Kadarius Toney have last year?
I saw him do it a little bit with the Giants as well. But if that's what's maddening about him is like if you got that consistently, that's what would have made him a first-round talent. But he's never healthy and he's not a consistent player.
Well, even so, right, like he didn't practice. So last year he played 7 games, had 14 catches for the Chiefs. He's clearly not an integral part of anything they do. I don't know why you're throwing these key plays to him, but maybe there's no one else. But, listen, Sky Moore. Don't blame Sky Moore. They were not looking for Sky Moore at all. I did not understand, and most fantasy players out there were with me last night. I don't have Sky Moore, but I could feel the anger on social media. Throw the ball to Sky Moore.
I know. 3 targets, no catches, did have 1 carry for 4 yards.
He was on the last play when it was 4th and 25.
Yep.
That was Sky Moore at the end of it, right, who got his hands on the ball, but it was an impossible catch. So they did not look for him consistently. Go back to the drawing board. I just think if Travis Kelce can't push off in a pool before the game, 10 days, he's going to be fine. I'm worried about this, Maggie.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, as we said, the biggest game of the weekend, not in the NFL. It's happening in Boulder, Colorado. So what's at stake now that the Deion Sanders and Colorado Buffalo hype train is completely out of the station? We'll get to that after this CBS Sports Update. Here is Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community and have your first deposit matched up to $100 when you use code PRIMETIME. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. There are dozens of storylines heading into this NFL season. We already saw a couple play out last night in Kansas City, where the defending champs dropped their season opener to the Lions. It's a new season and a new day for the Commanders, who have new owners and a new quarterback, and they'll host the Cardinals to open up with second-year man Sam Howell now calling the signals.
It's just a great opportunity. Obviously this is a very exciting time in this organization and this franchise, and to get out there on Sunday at FedEx Field in front of a sold-out crowd, it's a dream come true.
A couple of receivers are on the shelf for Week 1. DJ Chark will miss the Panthers opener with a hamstring injury. The Packers have ruled out Christian Watson also because of a hamstring. At Wrigley right now, the Cubs and Diamondbacks are scoreless in the bottom of the 6th, each team with one hit. And at the U.S. Open men's semis, Novak Djokovic leads Ben Shelton 4-2 in the first set. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube, and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time to Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at CBS Sports Radio or at Maggie and Pearl using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Maggie, we're 44 minutes in this show, and we have not mentioned a certain person's name yet. What's going on? Is everything okay?
It's time to get to the Daily Deion.
Daily. Do you believe that? Deion. You believe that?
It's time for your Daily Deion, your daily dose of Deion Sanders, as the Colorado Buffaloes have become the biggest story in sports. We bring you the Daily Deion. This is from the Colorado Football Coaches Show, Perloff. This was Deion Sanders, who had a message to TCU running back Trey Sanders when he was hurt briefly during last week's game against TCU.
I went out there and I said, son, now you know if you don't get up, they ain't got a chance. So I want you to get your butt up and get back in this game and be dominant like you've been. I mean, that's what
so you were coaching the other team's player.
I want the kid to be dominant because his last name's Sanders, first of all.
Ralco, yeah.
And he was the number 2 on offense. And that's what the conversation was.
I mean, sure. Okay. Listen, it was, I guess, nice that the opposing coach goes out to check on a player.
But do you think you really said that, by the way?
I have no idea. I don't know.
By the way,
I'm not here to comment on the veracity or, the truthfulness of any of these Deion quotes.
I was just assuming the heat of the moment, too, that Deion might not even remember exactly what he said to him. He might have thought he was saying that message, but who knows? Anyway.
So this, to me, has become a bit of a must-win for Colorado. And not a bit, a must-win for Colorado. You can't have Nebraska come in after you have all this positivity. You go down to Fort Worth, you beat TCU when you were a 20-point underdog, you prove whoever the doubters and the naysayers are, they're now wrong. You've got everyone on your bandwagon. You're the most exciting story in sports, and you can't have a letdown here, Perloff, against Nebraska. It would really deflate the story and the hopes and dreams of the Colorado Buffaloes if you lay an egg against Nebraska. Can't happen. This is a must-win. I know that sounds crazy, but it is for Deion.
Just to clarify a couple things here.
Yeah.
So if you were a doubter that Colorado could have a winning season, the fact that they went 1-0 means you were already wrong?
Well, NFL?
Yes. Yes, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing is lunacy. This has got to stop. This is not a must-win game. It's week 2. He has a brand new team. Nebraska has a new coach, but at least the team's been there before. They were touchdown underdogs before last week's win. I don't think people are being realistic here. They're raising expectations so fast. It's still a new team. Listen, they could not stop the run at all against TCU.
That might be a problem.
Nebraska loves to run. Fortunately for Colorado, they're awful at it, as they are everything offensive.
Yeah.
Their quarterback is just terrible. So they still have a good chance. But Nebraska could find a way. Who knows? A million things could happen in this game. It could be fluky, low scoring. They obviously must have learned something from the TCU game. Don't throw it anywhere near Travis Hunter. And double team Travis Hunter at all
when
time.
he's playing wide receiver. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I've raised the expectations on Colorado because they have raised the expectations. I guess that was always the standard, but they're living up to it. They have now Shedeur, who I didn't realize Shedeur Sanders was going to be a first-round draft pick, maybe a top 10 quarterback in the NFL draft. And Travis Hunter is not draft eligible this year, but he could be a top 5 pick. Like, they have
Wait, what do you mean you didn't realize?
I didn't know that Shedeur Sanders, he still had to prove it on the FBS level, right?
So wait. The draft already happened? I missed it? He's already a top 10 pick?
You don't think that now he's going to be thought of as a first-round pick if he keeps playing? He might not put up 500 yards of offense.
You said top 10.
Okay, but he's now in the conversation. 100% he's in the conversation. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, I'm just saying he has not been. You said I didn't know that he was going to be a top 10 pick.
I didn't know.
He's not going to be a top. I mean, who knows? That's what I'm saying. It's one game, Maggie.
Okay.
You have no idea.
And that's why it's so important that they follow it up with another great game.
This logic doesn't make any sense. We have no idea as where Shedeur Sanders is going to get drafted necessarily. He could go up to number 1 overall. He could fall to the 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round. It's one game.
I know, but that's why you got to show that there's some consistency here. And it might not look like 510 yards in a shootout like it was with Tennessee where no one could stop each other. And whoever got the ball last was probably going to win that game. Nebraska is going to be different, but you have to show that there is some consistency, which is why are we all tuning into this game on Saturday? Why is this going to be the highest rated game of the weekend? Maybe not the NFL, but for college football.
Well, yeah, I mean, Texas,
Alabama is going to be big too, but this is going to be number 2, if not number 1. We're all tuning in to see what. Can they do it again? Can Colorado win again? If they lose, it takes so much air out of the story.
But it was just 7 days ago. None of these expectations existed. Why are we going to rush to make all these declarations? Well, why is it all? This whole process is sped up to this crazy speed right now. It's like the Flash. It's unbelievable how fast we're doing
Deion Sanders, who's the coach.
But isn't that unfair to Deion and Colorado to make it a must-win?
No, they're the ones who want the expectations.
Yes,
I'm not putting them on it. They are.
So if they lose, why is it a big deal if they lose? Who cares? They're not going to win the national. They're not going undefeated and winning the national title.
Here's why. First of all, I think that it does take some of the air out of the story. I understand that you could say already it's been a success because they, upset TCU, whatever. I think you have to show a little bit more. Like the follow-up to the big win is always important. Think about the NCAA tournament when you get one of these big upsets, right?
Yeah.
Where, Lehigh upsets Duke, and then everyone wants to see, well, what do they do in the next game?
But if they lose, it doesn't matter.
Well,
Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue this year. Nobody cared that they lost in the 2nd round.
I think that it does matter, though, because Fairleigh Dickinson didn't have 2 guys who could be first-round picks at premium positions.
Is every single week going to be this gigantic consensus on Colorado? Every single game, I assume they play 12, 13 games. Are we going to have 12 or 13 do or die, make or break, gigantic games?
No, Colorado State's not going to be do or die, make or break. But imagine if they're undefeated.
Well, what's the difference? What's the difference between Colorado State and Nebraska?
Well, because at least Nebraska is a Big Ten team. I know. Barely, but yes. The other thing, too, is how cool would it be, and everyone should be rooting for this, how cool would it be if Colorado's undefeated going into that game against Oregon? That's cool.
Everyone except Nebraska and Colorado State fans.
Okay. Well, with apologies to the Huskers and the Colorado State Rams.
Buffs?
Something?
No, that's Colorado. Colorado State, yeah, they have the Rams on the helmet.
Right. With apologies to those 2 fan bases, I think everybody wants to see undefeated Oregon and Colorado playing each other in 3 weeks.
But even an undefeated, okay, that will be so overhyped because Colorado will have beaten TCU, which was impressive, but beating Nebraska and Colorado State will not be impressive. So it's not like you're seeing Does that mean that we're going to say, oh, undefeated powerhouses go against each other? They're 3-0. Even those expectations will be way out of whack. People, this is actually
who's being hurt here though by the high expectations? Like Deion,
Colorado,
but Deion's doing this himself, so obviously he doesn't think it's bad.
If they have a very reasonable loss to Nebraska, which I don't think is going to happen. They should probably win, but if they did, nobody should be like, oh, the sky is falling, Deion. Because if everyone said, oh, the experiment worked after 1 week, nobody should turn around and say this experiment didn't work after a loss to Nebraska. But people are going to do that, and it's a mistake. We just should be a little more patient here.
I have no idea what you're talking about. 855-212-4CBS. Let's go to Nate, who's in Iowa. Nate, what's up?
Hey, good afternoon again, guys. Hey, I had to jump in here on this TCU and Colorado game.
Go ahead.
I think everyone needs to pump the brakes just a little bit on the Colorado hype. It's awesome to see what Deion's doing down there. But TCU last year, everyone forgets, they lost a number of starting quarterback last year in the NFL and Max Duggan. Lost Quentin Johnson last year to the draft again. Garrett Riley to Clemson, and then they also lost a corner also to the draft. They still were in that game the entire time, but I agree. I think that you better hope that Nebraska doesn't come out and that there's not a letdown. So I think everyone's on the Colorado bandwagon. They want to see Colorado do well, but Nebraska's sitting there thinking, wait a second, to your point, it's going to be they can run the football and. Yeah. Last week, TCU was running the football fine against Colorado's small front seven. Nebraska's got a Big Ten offensive line. They can run that football.
Well, they could play spoiler, and I'm not they could play spoiler. Totally, Nebraska would have the formula. Nate, so good to talk to you. Thank you. But what I'm saying is Deion is the one who's leaning into the high standard and the high expectations. So why can't I go along with it? Why can't I have expectations for the team? It's not me. I'm not the one setting the agenda here. Deion Sanders is setting the agenda, and I'm buying in. So I don't want to be chastised for that.
I just don't think you should. If they lose, I don't think it's the sky is falling by any means.
No, the sky won't be falling, but it could take a bit of the shine away. Was there a little bit of fool's gold from week one? And I don't think that's going to be the case, but that's what's on the line going into this game.
I would just give him 12 games here. It's his first year in Colorado. He just brought in a whole new roster. Why don't you judge him in December? And I know it will never happen that way.
I'll judge him in December, too. I'll judge him now. I'm going to judge him in December. I'm going to judge him all the time.
Every week. But that's the thing. I don't want anyone to judge him negatively if they lose this game because that's ridiculous.
No, I think that they would be harsh on themselves if they lose this game.
Right, in a normal team way, they'd be harsh on themselves, but they're 3-point favorites. It should be based on the Vegas odds, it should be a close game. If they lose it, you know what? This is a work in progress, and hey, let's see what they do the next week. That's how it should be.
Coming up next, we're going to get the thoughts of a Super Bowl champion, former LSU, All-American, and All-Pro. Andrew Whitworth is going to join us. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Altuve buzzer is definite.
Oh, you guys are nuts if you think he actually had a buzzer under there. He didn't.
What? Wait, Stu, do you believe the buzzer?
I believe the buzzer.
You do?
I think everybody
nuts.
believes the buzzer.
No. Think about how silly that really is. You think all these years later, nobody would have spilled the beans? Nobody said a word?
Yeah, but it was so awkward the way he was hiding something.
No, he had a stupid tattoo and didn't want people to rip his shirt off.
Oh, get out of here.
I believe that.
Who on earth?
Sure.
Anyone I know with a tattoo wants to show that tattoo more than anything in the world.
Wow, you guys, I thought I was the conspiracy theorist around here. You guys sound whack.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome into the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff across the country on CBS Sports Radio. Perloff, let's waste no time. We've got a Super Bowl champion on the line. We've got a former All-Pro, Pro Bowler. Of course, standout at LSU as well. That's Andrew Whitworth, who's joining us on behalf of what else? Thursday Night Football, streaming exclusively on Prime Video Thursday nights throughout the NFL season. Coverage for Thursday night's game on Prime Video begins at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time. Andrew, it's Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Thanks so much for joining us from like your office/lair that you've got going on. That is a cool setup.
It is. You get really bored in retirement. You got to make your office look good. So that's what I'm doing. Thank you, Maggie. That was an awesome intro. I appreciate it.
Listen, I've done this a couple times, but we're glad to be able to talk to you about all things offensive line and more. Quick question from last night's game, okay? Chiefs-Lions. A lot being made about Juwan Taylor and the right tackle and how he was lined up. Now, this was so big that Terry McAulay had to come on the broadcast and describe it to everyone. Was it egregious how he was lined up, and should they have called it on that last drive?
And Andrew, would you still be playing if you were allowed to line up 5 feet behind the line of scrimmage and start early every play?
Let me tell you something. You can add that to the list, Andrew. I definitely would be playing if I could do that. Yeah, I thought, I think the false start thing and the moving early, I think those things give you a lot harder than people can understand for a line judge to really see, because there's so much happening with motions and everything else a lot of the time, and so many things they're watching. But when you talk about lining up deep, those were the worst part to me, is that, he was definitely not within the center's waistline. A lot of people think of it as the football, but the actual rule is that the helmet has to break the waistline of the center. And to me, he was not very close on a lot of snaps. And in my time playing, that used to be one of the most annoying things throughout a game, is you would constantly be getting yelled at by the line judge. Y'all have conversations and debates over how, far back or how up you needed to be all throughout the game. And so it just shocked me that it went on that bad and that egregiously all game long.
Andrew, if I'm a Chiefs fan, am I worried? Last night, Aiden Hutchinson caused a lot of problems, and, there's been some turnover on that line. Are they going to be okay?
Here's what I would say. I think, obviously, it's different guys. That's the thing I don't think enough people really talked about going into this season. You really replace both tackles, and there's going to be, whether they're veterans or not, this feeling out process of every quarterback so different. When I went from Carson Palmer to Andy Dalton, and we had Bruce Gradkowski in some of those years, AJ McCarron, guys that played when they were injured, or, going to the Rams and playing with Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. Everybody's a little different. Their style, where they go in the pocket, do they like to step up? Do they like to retreat backwards? Do they like to run out of the pocket? So I think you look at it even like a Donovan Smith. He just played with Tom Brady, who literally does nothing but stand in one spot, right? And so then you got Patrick Mahomes, who's going to move all over the place to throw the football. I think there's just this little bit of time of, regardless of whether you think they're going to play well enough, they're going to have a little bit of a feeling out time to, in a game, here's the timing and rhythm with which plays are going to happen and when I'm going to get in and out of the pocket. And I think that takes a little while to develop a relationship there and a trust.
Andrew Whitworth, of course, the All-Pro left tackle, is joining us now on behalf of Thursday Night Football, which streams exclusively on Prime Video Thursday nights. We love the setup with you guys, with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Carissa Thompson, Richard Sherman, Tony Gonzalez. You got Al and Kirk. You guys got a really good, Kaylee Hartung, you guys got a really good crew. Who's the craziest one off the set? Who's the wildest one?
Well, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic's an absolute lunatic. He is just, I always say this, he could just as much talk about football as be on Saturday Night Live. He's that kind of guy. He's hilarious, always witty and funny, and doing something, always up to some kind of antics. I did NFL Network a couple nights ago, and I was telling him he usually hits the lower lever on my chair right before we go on air live, so that my chair drops a foot. And you're just panicking to fix your chair back right before we go on air. But, it's always something with him. He's a riot, man. But our whole crew, we have a lot of fun. I never realized it could be this much fun covering the game and bouncing around city to city. We can't wait to get all back together.
So I'm an Ivy Leaguer, to brag, Andrew. I don't know if I want Ryan Fitzpatrick representing us anymore. Because he's got these commercials. He does not come off like a dude who went to Harvard. Does he to anybody?
You know what? I agree with you there. We have a lot of fun. I always tell the Amazon crew, it'd be more fun to give us a camera on Thursday and show our Thursdays, because we go every city. We go to lunch. We try to find the thing to do in that city, whether it's Seattle, going to the fish market or whatever, and kind of bounce around and just, typical antics, finding something to do that's funny and fun, and enjoy the city some with fans and everything else. He's a riot. He definitely doesn't come. He's crazy intelligent, so that part of him being going to Harvard. But he's definitely a guy who doesn't give off that Harvard vibe.
Andrew Whitworth is joining us, the All-Pro left tackle, Super Bowl champion, of course. So Okay. Which offensive line are you most worried about this season? Is it the Jets? Is it someone else?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of groups that you could say that you're worried about, but I look at it more the teams that we think are going to win a Super Bowl or have a chance to be there at the end and win this thing. I think if you put all those teams in a category, I think that the Jets are probably a team you're most concerned about, mainly because, Dwayne Brown played, great last year when he was able to and played through the shoulder injury and all that. But those injuries, they matter. And over time and age and everything else, will he be able to stay healthy and stay in there and do the job that he's always done when he plays that position? And then you look on the other side, Mekhi Becton, his knee injury was a very serious one. And he is a large human being if you've ever been around him. And so knees and ankles and those kind of things on big linemen like that, they're tough to overcome. So I would say of all the teams that you're really putting in that conversation of, man, we think this team could go to the Super Bowl and be really a contender this year right off the jump, they're that team you probably have the biggest circle around because you just want to see how healthy are they. And also, again, like I said earlier, new quarterback, although it is Aaron Rodgers, the ball comes out and all those things, there's still a little bit of learning each other and where that quarterback likes to live in the pocket.
I just want to point out, Andrew Whitworth is listed at 6'7", 330 was your playing weight, and you just called someone else a really big dude. I feel like that doesn't happen very often.
That is very true. That's a great point because he is a big man.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, your former team, the LA Rams, the way they're built right now, there's a chance they might not be very good. Sean McVay. Could somebody like Sean McVay handle being a losing team?
I think you look at last year, I think that was a massive disappointment to them. Really, when you match what their expectations were compared to what their result is. And there's tons of reasons, with the injuries and everything else they had were insane. I mean, NFL history lost an offensive line room. But I think that they have a lot of young pieces this year that make it different because even if you do not win as many games as you expect, you have such a young football team that there's almost an excitement of teaching them the game and how to be good pros and how to week in and week out bring that enthusiasm and infectious energy to chase who it is they want to be better every day, which are things you hear him talk about all the time. It almost gets him to kind of live out, hey, these are the mantras and all the things I talk about, and how can we continue to apply them and teach these young guys to become great NFL pros? So I think the mindset's a lot different this year. It's about who are we come December and November, really, compared to where we start, then really, hey, are we going to go try and chase winning a Super Bowl? I think it's getting better and seeing where this thing ends up by the end of the year.
Well, if that's the case, how long will Matthew Stafford stick around in L.A. then?
Well, I think if there's anybody that's had some experience of having some rough years, I think Matthew Stafford's had them. So I don't think he's too disappointed. The only difference here in Detroit is he's got a little Super Bowl ring in his back pocket. So I think you have a little more tolerance for, raising the young guys when that shiny little diamond ring's in your back pocket and a whole lot more money.
Andrew Whitworth joining us on behalf of Amazon Prime Thursday night. Last one for you, and this is kind of like obligatory. We're asking all of our guests this, basically. Are you a believer in the Colorado Buffaloes? Are you buying the Deion Sanders hype? Is this something that is, that you're caught up into, or are you not paying attention?
I pay a lot of attention to it. I am definitely caught up in it. I had a chance to visit with their offensive line coach this offseason at one of the O-line clinics, the OL Masterminds deal, and I've kind of kept up with him. And so I've been bought in. I'm excited. I love it when I see a former accomplished NFL pro like him, who's obviously the ultimate accomplished guy, right? One of the best ever to do it, and if not the best. But to see them when they get into this level where it's like, hey, I'm going to go to college, raise up people, teach the game of football, to see them be successful, I think it's so fun. I wish more and more players would get involved in coaching and show what they know. I mean, so it's really fun. I'm all bought in. I'm all about Prime, and I can't wait to watch this season.
Andrew Whitworth, last one, real quick. You mentioned Mekhi Becton, the big man. I mentioned you are listed 6'7", 330. Who else do you consider a big guy? Like you yourself calling someone else.
There's a lot of big guys in the NFL. They're mostly basketball players that I usually call big guys. But Mekhi Becton's one of those few NFL linemen that he's a big man. I mean, he is big. He's really big. But, I mean, when I started in the league, you had Jonathan Ogden and Orlando Pace and, you had some of those guys that were big, huge left tackles, right tackles, you name it, across the league. And Mekhi kind of reminds me of that earlier in my career, those bigger tackles.
Andrew Whitworth, forgot to mention amongst all your accolades, also Walter Payton Man of the Year Award in 2021. Good luck this season. We hope to talk with you again. Andrew Whitworth, watch him Thursday Night Football streams exclusively on Prime Video Thursday nights. Thanks, Andrew.
Can't wait. Thank y'all.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Of course, coverage for Thursday night's games on Prime Video begins at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah, Jawan Taylor last night got comical. I'm like, that dude is so far off the line. It's not even close. And then when they brought in Terry McCauley, the officiating expert at NBC, he made it sound like this isn't even close. Like, what are we doing here, people? It was obvious.
Well, didn't he also say it's kind of like on the Lions to have to point it out to the officials? It's like, why? You've got 1 million cameras here. We got 50 referees now. You got a whole command center back in New York. Like, it's
that being said, I mean, listen, there were a lot of faux offensive line experts. Like, I actually did. Did you know the rule about the center's belt?
No, I learned it. That was very interesting.
Yes. And the false starts, he was pretty good, by the way. He was real close to the start. So a lot of those were like, ooh, that was a gray area. So I give him a little credit for that. The guy could read the snap count perfectly.
Well, the fact that they did call it basically on the they called it on the last drive, and we've been watching it all night, and then he gets called for the false start that went from a 4th and 20 to a 4th and 25, and Andy Reid still went for it.
What I don't understand is people are ripping. I heard this take this morning. I get going for it on 4th and 20, but I don't get going for it on 4th and 25. What? What's the difference?
I don't know. There's no difference.
Yeah, I don't totally understand that. I mean, Andy won't go for it on 4th and 2 multiple times, but yeah, I'll definitely go for it on 4th and 25 with the 2-minute warning and 3 timeouts. Okay, Andy.
I just think that, there's a message you're sending to your defense when you've got 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, and you're on a 4th and 25, even if you have Mahomes. And it's a 1-score game, and you're like, we're going to go for it here? It's like, punt the ball away.
Well, the other thing, too, about the Chiefs' defense, all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, they showed up on this drive, and they looked exhausted. They hadn't been on the field the entire half because the Lions got a pick 6, and the Chiefs had these long drive after long drive. I don't know how they got so tired, but I guess the Chris Jones factor or something, they were shutting down the Lions most of the game, and then they wore out. What a bizarre game, Again, we're probably not giving enough credit to the Lions, but sometimes Andy Reid will do that to you. Like he'll find a way to make it interesting in the loss.
Coming up, we got the creepiest thing we've ever seen. But guys, you got to stream the NFL on Westwood One for free. It's sponsored by AutoZone all season long. You can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions do apply. The latest on the Dallas Cowboys next. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you're the MVP because when you see that green check, you'll know that part fits your vehicle. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. The drive of the week came in Colorado's 45-42 victory over TCU, trailing by 4 with less than 7 minutes left. The Buffaloes went on a 6-play, 82-yard drive that ended with a 46-yard TD pass from Shedeur Sanders to Dylan Edwards on a 4th and 2 play, including 2 tacklers who may have been betting on the Buffaloes on the other side of the ball.
Don't say that with Iowa State playing each other this weekend. Don't make jokes about guys betting on their own game.
Oh, by the way, the over-under on that game, 36.5.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, well, which is a typical Iowa over-under, but that is going to be not quite the battle that has been in the past. Okay. I'm getting so excited for this weekend. I think some people are going to tune into the NFL, especially on Sunday night when the Giants and Cowboys play in front of 46 million people. There seems to be a lot going on with the Cowboys, though, Mag.
Yeah, let's get to our Cowboy Quickie. Before we get to the game stuff, I just want everyone to know that we are now forever going to eternally be graced by the presence of Jerry Jones. There's a new artificial intelligence system that will now make Jerry Jones immortal. And if you think I'm joking, listen to this.
The reason AT&T Stadium is AT&T Stadium is because, to me, AT&T was like saying America. and I wanted our Dallas Cowboys, America's team, to be associated with Alexander Graham Bell and AT&T.
All right. That was an AI-generated version of Jerry Jones that exists right now at the Cowboys Stadium, where you can go and ask him certain questions, and hologram AI Jerry Jones will answer your questions. This is the seventh circle of hell. We are now in the apocalypse. Congratulations, everybody. Just the meteor's coming any moment.
I hear you. But by the way, that's to me another classic example. There's nothing AI about that. It's video. I don't understand, like, I need Jerry Jones to be able to talk to me when he's dead, like full on, like have a conversation, like back and forth.
He's going to be making draft picks for the Dallas Cowboys in the year 2058. Like,
that's what I need. He just read an ad to AT&T to camera, and they put it on the billboard.
No. If you see it, it's not
I saw
him.
it.
Yeah, it's like
that's not him.
It's like an image of him. It's not.
A hologram.
It's a hologram of him.
Right. But they filmed him. I saw it. They filmed him, and he said that thing about AT&T. I read AI. I thought a fake Jerry Jones.
No, now you can have like a conversation with him. You could ask him other questions about him growing up and playing football at Arkansas and stuff like that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the only thing they put out was the AT&T thing because they're doing an ad. But
no, this is great.
This is humanity going all downhill. This is Jerry forever in our life. And by the way, Super Bowl window now for the Cowboys open in infinity because he'll probably be hoisting a Lombardi trophy, a hologram of him if they win in like the year 2075.
Yeah, so you don't think they're going to win until then? Is that what you're calling right now?
Listen, I didn't say a word. One other interesting Cowboys thing. This is from Dak Prescott. Clarence Hill had this from Dallas Morning News that Dak Prescott requested to be sedated and put under for a total of 11 hours to get a leg tattoo back in March. Prescott said, people are going to think this is crazy, and it is crazy. I get that, but I'm crazy. That's my point. It is who I am. I know I am. I'm not afraid of nothing. Now, he got sedated for 11 hours to get
Apparently
this.
He's afraid of that needle.
yeah, not afraid of nothing except for 11 hours of tattooing. He got sedated. I'm seeing a picture of his leg on social media, and I can't tell what animal this is on his leg. It looks kind of like a reindeer. Maybe it's like a bull. Could be a buffalo. Imagine getting put out for 11 hours and I can't even tell what animal this is. I'd probably want a refund. That's your Cowboy Quickie. It's definitely not a horse.
I don't know. I am not in the game of judging tattoos because there's a whole different set of aesthetics.
No, but I just can't tell what's the animal here. Is it a moose?
I have no idea. But
Exactly. It's not. I'm not judging it. I just can't tell what this is. I guess I'm judging it.
Yeah, you're judging, but I wouldn't feel comfortable going into like a tattoo crowd, and because there's a whole different thing going on there. This is probably really high end. I would imagine like people would be like, whoa.
Yeah, it looks pretty high end. I mean, the shading on it is pretty cool. Anyway, I don't know what that animal is.
It makes him sound like a wimp that he had to get knocked out. I think that a lot of tattoo people would be like, that's soft, right?
11 hours? That's nuts. That would hurt so much, wouldn't it? I don't know. I don't have any tattoos.
Very common, isn't it? Is that unprecedented? You don't have to be the Dallas Cowboys quarterback to get an all-day tattoo, right?
I don't think you do it all in one sitting.
Yeah, you do like 3, but they're like 8 hours apiece.
Not for me. But more power to you.
But also, the fact that Dak said those things at the beginning about, that's me, I'm not afraid of anything. The only kind of people who say that are afraid of things. Like, what is he out there saying? He's like, that's typical Dak Prescott, just, totally brave. Like, dude, just let your actions speak for yourselves.
Yeah, good point. I never really thought that he was afraid of anything. To your point, until he brought it up.
That's just who Dak Prescott is, Maggie. He's the kind of guy who goes under 11 hours to get a tattoo.
Apparently. But further note, for this game, Cowboys are going to play the New York Giants. The Giants have Darren Waller now listed as questionable, and that's not a surprise because he's been injured a lot through his career. I know Stu just gave me a side eye there, our resident Raider fan. But also, just checking the Dallas Cowboys injury report. Hold on one second. I'm going to get that for you. Yes, Tyler Smith and Tyron Smith and Donovan Wilson all listed as questionable right now. Yeah. So 2 offensive tackles and a safety, all questionable.
Yeah, and Jerry talked about this today, of course. He said that Tyler Smith is the bigger concern. This reminds me of, I think it was right around this time last year when you had your infamous offensive lineman take. Was it about the Cowboys?
It definitely was.
Yeah, so they just need some big guys to push someone around. They'll be fine.
I said he could handle it in 2 weeks. Yes. I said Jason Peters could come off the street, and if you gave him a few weeks, he could play solid offensive line for the Cowboys. And for some reason, I got an avalanche of criticism.
But by the way,
sorry, bigger update. Sorry, Tyler Smith did participate in the Cowboys mock game Friday, okay? And Tyron Smith participated also in that mock game, according to John Machota, The Athletic.
So who are we giving the edge here? 2 questionable linemen or 1 questionable tight end here? Which is a bigger possible issue? I think it's a tie.
It might be.
2 linemen versus Darren Waller. I'm counting him into my Giants offensive production. Is that stupid?
Why would you? He's hurt all the time.
Because I watch preseason. The guy is the best receiver that's been in Giants uniform since Odell left.
Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, let's get to our Cowboy fan. That'd be Big Dave, who's in Kentucky. Dave, how are you?
This is freaking awesome. Now I feel like Jarrett could continue to jack things up from beyond the grave. I mean, how does it get any better than this?
Dave, rest assured knowing you're going to have Jerry Jones in your life, whether you like it or not, till the end of time.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, listen, guys, I've got something for you, all right?
Yeah. Hey, wait, David, then I got something for you. Go ahead. Go ahead with your football question.
Cool. Here's the thing. I got to thinking about this last night. I know Mahomes, I know they lost the game, but, I'm sitting there admiring his talents. I mean, the guy's you got to give him props. I mean, you seriously do. Of course, without a couple of major weapons. But this question came to me, and don't ask me why, but you and McLevin were the first 2 that came to my mind when it did.
Okay.
How many quarterbacks in the NFL could you instantly plug in to the teams that we would consider to be elite? I mean, obviously not everyone. Let's pull a random team out of our hat. The Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, yeah.
How many quarterbacks that are in the league right now playing do you think that you could legitimately plug into a team and make them an instant Super Bowl favorite?
Ooh.
I mean, back of the envelope here: Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen.
Yeah, but Josh Allen goes to the Cowboys. He's not winning a Super Bowl.
Well, he might not win with the Bills.
I love this. This is exactly what I want. I want to hear you guys debate this. I want to hear your rationale.
Yeah.
I mean,
actually, honestly, Dave,
2 years ago, Matthew Stafford.
I'm not sure Patrick Mahomes wins a Super Bowl with Dallas. I think there's a lot going on in Dallas. I think, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think Mahomes is partly because of this Kansas City system. I don't think he has success everywhere.
Wait, Dave, I got to ask you something. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Because this is a great topic, but I got to ask you something that you have shared with us previously on a previous show, that you used to work in the prison system, right? You were a former warden?
Yes, former warden, yes.
So this is crazy, but we have like 3 people who have broken out of prisons in the last couple days, and I'm dying to get your thoughts on this because one of them is in like rural Pennsylvania, like a suburb of Philadelphia, where this guy who was wanted for murder in his native Brazil, then got to the United States, murdered his girlfriend in front of her children, horrible, gruesome story, just got sentenced to life in prison, and then he just escaped from the prison, and he's still on the loose. Dave, how does this happen? How do people break out of prisons?
This day and time, especially someone that would be classified as that high risk, that there is a systematic breakdown somewhere that's of the most serious nature. In other words, the fish usually sinks from the head down. For instance, in Kentucky, which is where, even though the last 8 years of my tenure, I actually went over into the private sector. So I spent a lot of time actually traveling around the country, state to state, auditing facilities, opening up facilities, getting them accreditation prepared and that. But if you have someone of that nature that is able to escape like this guy multiple times, it's a systematic breakdown because technology, the physical barriers that are the way prisons are constructed, prisons, jails, regional jails, that type of thing, the way they're constructed this day and time with the technology, the surveillance technology and all that, then
Right.
it is a.
Does it have to
there's a
be like an
serious
inside job or something? Like, does someone have to kind of been in on this in order to escape a prison? Can a prisoner just do it rogue?
No, for a case like you're talking about with this guy, if it's happened multiple times, you're talking about somebody from Brazil, and this has happened more than one time. Then the first thing that came to my mind when you said that is that. See, here's the thing: federal inmates, I still call them convicts. You probably can get by with that at the same time. But federal convicts, you have a lot of your drug cartel people in that. You got multi-million-dollar convicts locked up in the federal prison system, international prisoners and things of that nature versus state-convicted felons. So when you get into people like that have got, listen, money will buy a lot of things. I mean, I have had to walk employees out of a facility and charge them with felony introduction of contraband for a couple of $1,000 bucks. Imagine what someone like that, who has probably got millions of dollars at his disposal, listen, it'll buy a lot of things.
Crazy. Well, Dave, thank you for that. I had to tap into your former life there and thank you for the phone call and good luck to your Cowboys on Sunday night. This story has been wild. I don't know. You've been following it. It's in suburban Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's really scary.
Totally scary.
Yeah, it's surprising to me they haven't caught this person yet.
It's been 9 days. He's been on the loose.
Yeah. I went to summer camp right next to. Have you ever heard Graterford Prison?
No.
It's pretty much one of the 2 or 3 most secure prisons on the entire East Coast.
Okay.
And it was literally, I could see it from where I was at camp, and it always freaked me out.
Yeah, hell of a view.
Yeah. And the other side was the Limerick nuclear power plant, so you could see those towers.
That's really sandwiched in between.
The camp got some cheap land. But actually, I don't know. But have you been reading about Philadelphia lately? Basically, it's dangerous to walk on the streets everywhere there. They've had a huge crime problem this year, but that's besides the point. I'm not going to get into that.
No.
So
we saved the politics, religion, and parenting advice for the podcast.
I don't know if that's quite politics. It's like the number one story in Philadelphia for the last 2 years has been really really sad, a lot of violence. But that being said, the shutting schools, telling people to stay in their house.
Yeah. People
insane.
are like in lockdown because this guy has been terrorizing. He got into someone's house and had broken into their home through like French doors that basically like didn't shut properly. The guy's upstairs with his wife and 3 kids. They're sleeping. They hear something, go down in the middle of the night. He thinks he hears something in his kitchen, so he flicks the lights on and off. And then all of a sudden downstairs, the lights flicked back on and off. Like the guy was communicating with him as he's in his kitchen, and then left the house. He's like, I'm calling the police, and the guy left, and they still haven't found him.
I got to tell you, I find the city where I live, Brooklyn, much less scary than the suburbs. Just being in a house, I find houses terrifying.
Because every scary movie is usually like the house itself is possessed or something.
That situation you just described with the flickering, that never happens in a studio apartment.
No.
Yeah.
You got 99 problems with that ain't one.
Yeah, the house. I mean, you live in New Jersey, kind of. I saw a picture of your house the other day. When you hear like a knock in the middle of the night, don't you freak out?
Yeah, I tell my husband, go check it.
Yeah. My apartment is in the middle of total and utter chaos 24 hours a day. I woke up the other day at 6 in the morning. There are 7 helicopters hovering right over my apartment.
Why?
I don't know. I have no idea. Still don't know. They weren't even looking at traffic. Maybe they were looking at me. I don't know what was going on.
They're coming after you for your bad takes.
A lot of times they shut down the Brooklyn Bridge for when drug cartel guys are going back and forth to prison like El Chapo.
Yeah, lovely.
Might have been that. It was either, I have no idea. But anyway, we hear random noises all night. There's an upstairs neighbor who makes all this noise. There's a below neighbor. I get so freaked out by the quiet. Because you're asleep. All of a sudden, a light starts flickering downstairs. You're like, get me out of this place.
Yeah. This story, though, is just crazy. I can't believe they haven't found this guy. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's just, let's call in the FBI. Let's get the dogs out there or whatever. One of the dogs got heat stroke. It's like, we only got one dog? The dog's got heat stroke. Send in the other dog. I don't know. This is crazy. Coming up. What?
Just send in the other dog.
There has to be another one. There's one dog in the whole police force? What are we doing?
I think you need more than 2 for the entire city of Philadelphia.
Especially,
come on. Good point. It's
Can't
hot
you
and humid.
lend somebody a dog? Like, A police dog?
Just take my Shorky Poo and just find this guy.
Samter's dog. It weighs like 2 pounds. Another dog. Someone has to have one. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, coming up, got a lot to do here. We got picks to make. We've got our celebrity NFL picker coming up at the top of the hour. We did such a terrible job promoting this, but we are going to have celebrities picking NFL games every Friday this week, and we've just decided to tell people about it right now. Who will the celebrity be week 1? You have to wait around to find out. Again, top of the hour, celebrity picker coming in to make NFL picks after this. Oh, boy. NFL picks, and the advice duck is in the house. It all happens after this CBS Sports Update. Here is Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
The defending Super Bowl champs open the season with a loss. The runners-up will hope for better in their season opener Sunday. The Eagles try to get back to the big game, but first up, they'll have to deal with Bill Belichick and the Patriots in Foxborough, and quarterback Jalen Hurts said that's never an easy time.
A really good team, a really good defense, a well-coached team, and for us, we just have to control the things that we can going into this game.
Bryce Young won't have DJ Chark to throw to on Sunday in his NFL debut as the Panthers have ruled out the wide receiver due to a hamstring injury. The Packers' Christian Watson will also miss the season opener due to a hamstring injury. Denzel Ward of the Browns has been cleared from concussion protocol and will be in the lineup. Right now at Wrigley, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. Zach Gallen looking to go the distance. He has allowed just 3 hits to the Cubs thus far, and the Diamondbacks have a 1-0 lead over Chicago at Wrigley Field. Right now at the U.S. Open men's semis, Novak Djokovic has taken the first 2 sets from Ben Shelton, 6-3, 6-2. Top seed and defending champ Carlos Alcaraz will face Daniil Medvedev next. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Today's question comes from Lawrence in Omaha. Maggie, have you picked your college football team yet?
Oh, boy.
You can submit a question by tweeting at CBS Sports Radio or at Maggie and Pearl using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. All right, Mag.
Yeah.
It's that time of year. We're a week in. It's past that time of year.
Count week 0. We're 2 weeks in.
Of course, everyone knows you went to GW, who does not have any football program. Never had a football program, have they?
No. They sell T-shirts that say GW football, undefeated.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you get to pick a new team every year. What are the hats you have out here?
Okay, so, of course, I was rooting for the Cal Bears last year. That didn't go so great. I've got LSU in front of me. I've got Arkansas, I've got South Carolina, and I was supposed to have another hat that unfortunately didn't make it if you're watching youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. So now, while you guys think that this segment is for the advice duck, it's the announcement. Hit the music, Stu. This season, I will be rooting for the Oregon Ducks. Hold for applause.
Yeah, well.
Let's put the duck suit on.
How about them Ducks?
How about them Ducks? Bo Nix, the school that gave us such greats as Marcus Mariota and Justin Herbert and Dennis Dixon. And
yeah, the school that gave
Dan
us Dennis
Fouts.
Dixon.
Michael James.
Let me get this straight.
I'm proud to be a Duck this season. Go Ducks!
That's awesome, but let me get this straight. You're picking The team that won 81-7 over the team that got blown out by Florida State, the team that lost to North Carolina, the team that is Cal. Arkansas looked good against nobody. But you can't pick is this okay? Is this within the rules? You scored 81 points last week. Were you waiting to see how they did against Portland State?
No, we were waiting for the hat to show up, but because of that terrible storm in the Gulf of Florida, it never got here. Okay.
Were you worried that when they might have won too big and caused some people worrying about you jumping on the bandwagon? Or?
No, I've been sitting next to you for the last year and a half. I've gotten a PhD level education on bandwagon jumping from you. So I didn't feel bad about this at all. I'm going with the flow.
No, earlier
I'm going with Oregon.
I'm going to let people behind the scene you'll hear a little bit. Earlier in the week, Maggie told me the possible teams. She said, I am a little worried about how big Oregon won because when does a team score 81 points?
This is the perfect time for me to get on the bandwagon.
You're like, could they have just stopped at 72? Like, why did they have to go to 81?
I'm only okay with this if Maggie does what the Ducks mascot does and does push-ups for every point that they scored. So I think the Duck mascot had to do 560-something push-ups because of the 81 points. So Maggie, if you can do 500-something push-ups, I'm all for it. Let's go. Every week, push-ups for the Ducks.
All right. That had to be two people, right? You can't let one person do 500 push-ups.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
You're saying that they're
switching
the other duck.
Do they have? I mean, I don't know if colleges have enough. You know, if Philadelphia only has one dog, I don't know that there's two guys who could be the duck at Oregon or two women.
Why not? I'm not doing 500 push-ups. Anyway, so
wait, are you going to do 250?
No, I can't do two. So I will be rooting for the Oregon Ducks this year. Go Ducks! Let's go.
What happens when they play your Colorado Buffaloes in Week 4?
It's going to be tough. I'm going to be split, but I'm with the Ducks now.
You got to root for the Ducks then.
I will be rooting for the Ducks.
So here's the question. Does Advice Duck turn into the Advice Oregon Duck?
I think Advice Duck might just be like, just the duck now? I'm not sure what to do, but luckily we had the costume and the suit. I guess maybe I'm giving it as the advice, like maybe only Oregon football questions now. I have no idea what we're going to do. We did not think this through, but I'm now rooting for the Ducks. Let's get back to the phones, 855-212-4CBS. Ethan is in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, wants to talk about last night's Chiefs-Lions game. Ethan, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Trying to keep my kids from tearing up the house while I call in, so pretty good.
Good luck with all that.
Yeah, I love Andrew Whitworth, but I have to disagree. I think the Chiefs are in big trouble. Mahomes is going to be running for his life all season, especially with the two tackles. As a Bucs fan, Donovan Smith was pretty bad last year. He's on the back end of his career, and that was just vintage Donovan Smith, the most important play of the game. He gets beat badly, and he gets a horrible holding penalty, which forced him back to 1st and 20 or 2nd and 20, whatever it is. So, yep, I think they're in trouble.
That was amazing, by the way, that there weren't more holds early on because Mahomes was really testing that line. He didn't like his first look ever.
No.
So he's running around like crazy. I felt like the officials were keeping the flags in the pockets last night based on the fact that there just were not a lot of them.
Yeah, and then it is interesting. Ethan, great call, and good luck with the kids and stuff. I got no advice for you there. Put a movie on. But the thing is, they end up calling the false start at, listen, the game was probably doomed. Like, what are the odds that even the great Patrick Mahomes is going to complete a 4th and 20?
Wow, he did throw it right to the guy's hands.
I know, but then a 4th and 25. I mean, it was just terrible.
I think when Tony dropped that last ball, that took the wind out of their sails. And then that holding call was just devastating.
Yeah, and they started off the drive with a penalty, right? Oh, no, it was the Tony drop and then a penalty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
then the holding call.
I can't believe they had 2nd and 2, basically in some form or 3 drives in a row were stuffed each time. It's Kansas City, really, they got to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, you know what? Let's not mess around. I think they got super cocky in that game. Don't you think that Mahomes looked like, oh, well, I'm winning this game. It's Arrowhead. There's no way I'm losing.
They got the ball back with 2:30. They're down a point. Of course everyone thought they were going to win that game because I've watched Mahomes win that game so many times.
How many times have they blown a lead to an NFC team in the 4th quarter at Arrowhead?
Ever? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they do not lose that game.
Let's go to Patrick. He's in Myrtle Beach. Patrick, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Great. What's up?
So it just reminded me, you guys were talking about, you picking a new team and you picked Oregon, that's fine, but I wanted to share an anecdotal story that I heard recently about You know Furman University?
Yeah.
The Paladins.
Okay. Are you familiar with the story about their changing of the name?
No.
Okay, so this is great, right? So they had to change it because they apparently the acronym that spelled out on shirts and signs was Furman University.
I didn't want to hear the end of that. There was something.
I mean, come on, we all know where that was going.
There was something about that call that just didn't sound right. So, yeah, we're not going to go to that one. We've been doing this too long. We can smell this stuff coming.
Well, we actually could smell it coming, but then he already got the Furman University.
Yeah.
Even a third grader could figure out where that was headed.
He didn't have to figure that one out. All right, so.
Wait, by the way,
yes.
Furman is the Paladins, right? Or did I make that up? Who is the Paladins? And that's and I thought that was something related to ducks, remember? And it's really a medieval Templar.
I don't remember that.
They're the Paladins.
Yes, the Furman Paladins.
What's that?
Correct, the Furman Paladins.
And you know what a Paladin is. It's a medieval knight that fought in the Crusades.
Who doesn't know that?
That guy knew that. Maybe that's
listen,
where
my brother is a D&D dungeon master. Of course I know about Paladins.
Wait, were Paladins in D&D?
Yeah, of course. Paladins and wizards and dwarves.
Here's a question about your brother
stuff.
being the Dungeons and Dragons, the dungeon master. You put that on a resume?
Oh,
That is his resume.
Dungeons & Dragons like the hottest thing in the world. Like, it became cool again.
Yeah, I know
for
they have
teenagers.
a movie.
Wait, did you say again? Like it was popular, but it was never cool.
But it's cool now.
Now it's cool. It's not cool again. It's cool now.
How did it become cool?
Because I feel like as you get older,
Nerds are in.
Yeah, I think as you get older, doing nerdy things is actually kind of cool.
I
But
think
when you're
young people
young, you can't be a nerd.
Yeah, but I feel like nerds are accepted in our culture in a way that they never were when in the 80s, in the Revenge of the Nerds era.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Yeah, the Lambda fraternity.
Yeah.
No, now nerds are cool. I also think there's something about nostalgia. I don't know when Dungeons and Dragons started, but to me, it's like a 90s thing. And maybe people are having
Not
all these
sure.
nostalgia things for games.
I think it might be a little older than that, but
Maybe.
yes.
80s and 90s.
Yeah. I got to tell you who's benefited off that popularity of nerds? Yours truly.
Yeah, I know. You've been waiting all this time.
Yeah, when you told me, shut up, Poindexter, the other day.
When I stuffed you in a locker.
Yeah.
I think that putting Dungeon Master on your resume could really throw people off. You might not know what you're getting there.
We're talking about how to build a sex room again.
Yeah, I know. By the way, I don't think that that show got picked up for season 2. It's going out on a limb there.
Shocker.
Yeah. Even with a writer's strike and an actor's strike. Speaking of actors, celebrity picker coming your way next. Who is the first celebrity who's going to be picking NFL games? We're going to have a new one every week. So we start next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
There were parents there of 8 and 9-year-olds who their kids are hearing some terms for sexual acts and then came back to the parents and said, "What is this?"
Ooh, that's a tough one. My daughter's memorized about 15 Nicki Minaj songs.
Oh, boy.
So she knows a little more than I am. Sometimes I go to her with questions.
What is WAP?
You know, it's an interesting moment, and it's related. When your kid drops a curse word on you, my daughter, like 9, didn't like this teacher. My daughter's this cute little thing. She goes, "Bleeping Miss What's her name?" I was like, whoa.
Working blue. Wow.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff are coming off a big Thursday night game last night. Super exciting, head-scratching decisions by Andy Reid. Chiefs receivers could not catch passes in that game. They clearly missed Travis Kelce. Perloff, it was a great way to kick off the NFL season.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, everyone walked away miserable except for Lions fans because a lot of my friends are fantasy owners of Jahmyr Gibbs, the rookie running back out of Alabama, and he didn't get the ball enough, and Andy Reid was driving people crazy. But it's exactly what we wanted for an opening game, one that kept us there to the last second. And we did get to see Patrick Mahomes almost pull it out, almost single-handedly. Yeah, I was really satisfied with last night.
Okay, now to keep the positive momentum going here, we got a big announcement to make, and that is throughout the NFL season, on Fridays, we are asking celebrities to come and pick NFL games for us. And to start things off with a bang, we had to go to one of the biggest sports fans we know. Jerry Ferrara is kicking us off here with our celebrity picks. If you want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Jerry, of course, you know him from Entourage, from Power, from Think Like a Man, from Las Vegas, so many things, and noted super sports fan. Jerry, thanks for doing this. How you been?
I've been well, and I'm hoping I don't fumble your opening celebrity kickoff right here, and hopefully you get some good vibes going into week 1.
Listen, Jerry, we're expecting a Deion Sanders-like escalation here. We just need you to really pull some upsets.
Well, better than Jalen Brunson did in international play, Jerry.
Oh,
sorry.
Boy. Don't start.
We're 10 seconds in, you're going to troll me about a Knicks player in FIBA basketball.
Well, I'm just wondering, Maggie and I were talking about, is Jalen Brunson going to make the big Olympic team? Actually, he looked pretty good. He's pretty good. I know you're a big fan of his.
They subbed him out and put in Halliburton on defense, and Halliburton slipped and an open 3 happened. And I'm just saying, I know he's not a lockdown defender, but listen, just keep him healthy. I want him for the Knicks. Gold medals are great. I want him healthy for the Knicks. That's all I care about.
Well, Jerry Ferrara joining us. He's our celebrity NFL picker for this week to start us off. And before we get to the picks, speaking of the Knicks, obviously, let's go back to the playoffs for a moment. So it was Heat Knicks. Everyone's getting really excited for the big game, but fans were also excited for another reason, Perloff, and that is because not only had the Aaron Rodgers trade become official, but Rodgers had come to New York to participate in all the offseason programs. So Rodgers is all over New York. He's doing everything. So, of course, he shows up to Madison Square Garden, not just for a Ranger game. Then the next day he's there for a Knicks game. Sitting courtside, who is he next to? Our man, Jerry Ferrara. So who sat down first? Like, were you there first? You saw Rodgers coming, or was he sitting there first? And you're like, oh, I'm going to go sit next to Rodgers.
So listen, I still don't believe that I get to sit there from time to time as a Knicks fan since childhood. The fact that I get to sit there is ridiculous. So I was there first. And I'm always there first because I go down for the warm-ups. When everyone else goes upstairs during halftime, I stay down there. I don't leave those seats. I'm there for the game. So, yes, I was there first. I didn't know who I was going to be sitting next to. I was there with my buddy Max Greenfield from New Girl in the neighborhood. And in walks in Aaron Rodgers and Sauce. It sat right next to me. And Lundqvist also somehow gets left out of the equation. It was like we're sitting right there as well. And yeah, it definitely changed the vibe of the night. I didn't know that we were going to get so much action our way, but it was cool because where we sat too in that corner, the game in the fourth quarter sort of played out in that corner.
Wow.
A lot of loose balls. Josh Hart hit a big 3. Brunson hit a big 3. Jimmy Butler took off his hoodie and was in like a Lululemon tank top or whatever. It was awesome.
So wait, how much hoops does Aaron Rodgers know? Did you get to talk about the game with him?
Yeah, basically, a lot of people and even friends have asked me, what do you guys talk about? And some of it, nothing crazy. It was such a deep nerd basketball conversation. I can't even tell you. Oh, my God. He so deep, and he really loves basketball. And what blew me away even more is when they both stood up, and I'm like, wow, Sauce Gardner's taller than Aaron Rodgers. I'm trying not to like this Jets team. I'm a Giants fan. I needed like a sports intervention last week. But yeah, that was a great night. And the Knicks won, which it was not a good series for them, but that was one of the better games to be at.
Jerry Ferrara is going to be the celebrity picking NFL games for us week 1. We're going to continue this throughout the season with all different types of celebrities. And, I'm just wondering, like, if I sat next to Rodgers, I would have to at some point ask about the ayahuasca. I would have to. He's put it out there. Clearly, he's okay talking about it. Did the conversation ever go towards, did he try to recruit you, like, to take, these mind-altering drugs?
He did not try to recruit me. By the way, if he did, I would have went along. I would have definitely went along. He did not try to recruit me. And, at that point, like I said, he had just gotten to New York. So I think he was just really taking it in. And, he's bringing players to Broadway shows and just living it up. You saw his quotes the other day. It's like a dream. And, I'm happy for him. Again, I don't want to root for this team, but I'm happy for him because I've met him before and he's a really, really good dude.
Okay, another GOAT, Tom Brady, who I'm assuming you've run into through the years. I believe he was on Entourage, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know you're a Giants fan, but he's going to be honored at the Patriots-Eagles game. I mean, what do you get for Tom Brady? I feel like that's an impossible gift assignment. How would you honor Tom Brady if you were New England?
Look, anything short of like, here's 25% of the team that you helped build for the last 25 years is going to feel like a miss. I just think, though, you're right, Andrew, but I think for him, because he did go to the Bucs, and then even in that last year with the Bucs, it was not a storybook ending for him. So I think coming back to New England, that emotion, that crowd, I just think him getting cheered in that stadium, feeling like a Patriot again, I would imagine is enough, because it still is weird. We had it with Montana, with the Chiefs, Favre with Vikings and Jets. Yeah. So it still was weird seeing Brady in that Bucs jersey. So seeing him back in New England, even though I'm no Patriots fan, I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Maggie thinks he's coming back, by the way. She will not let go of this idea that he's going to run out at halftime with a helmet on.
Look, I possible. And wasn't there like some story that who was it for the Niners? Like Phil Rivers was like ready to go in case they made the Super Bowl. Well, if there's ever a guy for that, Tom Brady's like the greatest guy. Hey, night before, our quarterback's a little iffy. Tom, can you dust off your 48-year-old arm? If there's ever a guy for that, it's Brady.
See, Jerry, you can tell Jerry Ferrara is joining us. You can tell Jerry's actually a classy person because, you just asked a Giants fan what they would give Tom Brady. Yeah. And, like, there's a couple options there. A little photo of the David Tyree helmet catch, ask him to sign it. Little, sailing a pass over Wes Welker's head.
It's so fun. I have no beef with the Patriots. It's been a wonderful relationship. Like I said, he did us a solid and came on Entourage when Peyton and Eli Manning sort of not flaked, but had to pull out 2 weeks before that episode. So that's how it became Brady and Wahlberg. So we're having like Wahlberg as your executive producer. He's like, you want me to call Tom? I'm like, Tom who?
Tom Tupa?
Like, yeah, call Tom Brady up and see if he'll be on the show. So I got no beef with the Pats or Brady. 2-0 in the Super Bowl.
Be like, why did it take you this long to call Brady? We couldn't have just had him for like season 1. Jerry Ferrara's got a podcast, the Jerry Ferrara podcast. It's on YouTube. It's on Twitter. It's on Twitch. It's on Facebook. You're a diehard sports fan. You really are, Jerry. I mean, you know your stuff. And that's why we thought of you immediately when we were doing celebrity NFL picks. So let's get to it.
Time for celebrity picks.
Jerry, did you ever watch Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous as a kid?
I did. I can't say I've sat and watched the whole episode, but I know Robin Leach and I know like the intro, but yeah, I don't think I've ever sat and watched the whole episode, but I'm familiar. I'm old enough to be familiar.
That's just music playing. I don't know if you can hear the music. Yeah, we're playing Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Okay, so
as you live.
We've got 5 games for Jerry to pick, so we'll go through them, and you can give us as little or as much information on these as you want, Jerry. It's really artist's choice. So first one, Dolphins at Chargers. Chargers 3-point favorites.
Look, I am of the belief that anytime the Chargers are playing a good team, whether they're home or on the road and favored, you need to go with the dog here. Dolphins, I think, are pretty loaded and stacked early in the year. But my best pick ever was last year. I bet Jaguars down 27-7 at halftime against the Chargers. Because I'm like, this is the worst thing that could happen to the Chargers is having a 20-point lead at halftime. Give me the Dolphins plus the 3 all day.
Man, love it. Okay, Bengals at the Browns. Browns are 2.5-point underdog.
This is a tough one for me because I married a beautiful woman from Cleveland. So the Cleveland Browns are my team-in-law, as I like to call them. But I do like the Browns with the plus 2.5. I'd like it a little more if it were 3. So I'm stretching a little bit. But Browns 2.5 at home. I think they pull it out.
Just a little side note, Perloff lost our Joe Burrow bet where he thought he was going to sign for less money annually than Justin Herbert. So now he has to eat a bowl of Skyline chili with no hands.
Ooh, that's brutal.
You ever had
you guys don't
chili?
play games over there.
I know. Our food bets around here are no joke. Okay, yes.
By the way, I would say I like marrying a Browns fan because then the bar is low. Like, she's so used to disappointment that anything you do is a positive, right, Jerry?
Well, quick sidebar, but what about my 2 kids? They gonna be Browns and Knicks fans? Like, that's just, I'm setting them up for years of therapy right there.
I know. Better put some of that Entourage money away for the therapy bills. Eagles at Pats. Pats are a 4-point underdog.
I wrestled with this one because the Eagles are such a powerhouse and they're in my team's division and I don't want to pick them. But also, I'm gonna go with the Pats. I'm gonna take the 4 points. I think Belichick too. Time to prepare specifically for one team. I think it is a close game. I think the Eagles win, but I think it's a field goal game or maybe even a push situation. But give me the 4 points here.
Got to go with your team. That'd be the New York Giants. Everyone's big on the Daniel Jones. Got the big contract. Saquon Barkley's nice and happy playing on the franchise tag. Darren Waller questionable, though, for this game. They welcome in the Cowboys, who've been tough for them in the last few years. Giants are a 3.5-point underdog right now.
Yeah, you see the Waller, like red X on all your fantasy sites. It's like, oh, here we go. This is not. We're hoping we can get through week one. So look, if he's not going to play, that changes this a lot. But assuming he's going to play and tough it out, I just also love the number. I love the 3.5 at home. And you're right, the Giants, Maggie, have not beat the Cowboys on opening night since I think the stadium opened up for the Cowboys. So I'm going with the Giants with the 3.5. I just think it's a good number, but I do think they win the game outright. I'm picking all dogs if you're noticing the theory here. Smart
strategy for week one. So we'll finish out with this one. Monday night, it's the Bills at the Jets. You were courtside, Knicks game, sitting next to Aaron Rodgers and Sauce Gardner. Jets are a 2.5-point underdog.
Yeah, so this is a case where I don't love the number as much. And again, I'm done with the Jet stuff. I gave them the love they deserved. I even talked about it, like I said, on my YouTube show last week. Like, I needed that intervention. I think people slept on the Bills. They had a rough ending to the year last year for obvious reasons. Also, Josh Allen hurt. But if you look back to those first 10 weeks, they were a buzzsaw on offense. And I think close game, I think the Bills actually pulled out. Sorry, Jet fans, but whatever.
That's okay. You're talking to the number one Bills fan right here. So I'm glad that someone is positive about the Bills. Okay, so Jerry, are you a Daniel Jones guy? Because Perloff and I are very split on this.
I am a Daniel Jones guy. What that means exactly is definitely nuanced. I do think everyone panicked so much after the draft, and I get it. They drafted him early. They probably could have got him at 18 or whatever the pick was. But he's getting better every year. And if you look at his coaches before Dable, that was a bit of a nightmare. You want a quarterback who could run? You want a quarterback with a strong arm? Yes, he has to work on accuracy. Look at the weapons he had last year. So, I'm in. Is he a top 5 quarterback? Not yet. Will he be? Not quite sure. But to me, especially in the NFC, I'm very comfortable giving him that contract and being the quarterback. What else are you going to do?
Our friend Tiki Barber said that he would take Daniel Jones 100 times out of 100 over Dak Prescott. Can you buy that?
Well, being that I would be, if I'm the 101st person you're asking, that's 101 out of 101. Yes, I'm buying that, Andrew. Wait,
what is Dak done? Dak Prescott's beaten the Giants 10 times in a row, and Tiki's like, I would take him 100 times. I think it's closer than that.
I mean, 10 times in a row, and it's all led to what? Second round playoff appearance.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
Once.
Daniel Jones, I like Daniel Jones. He threw 15 touchdowns last year, and all of a sudden he's better than Dak Prescott. That feels
Wait, how'd he do with his legs, though? How it was 700-800 rushing yards?
Another 7 touchdowns rushing.
Another 7 touchdowns. You leave that part of the equation off. And to Hodgins and who else? Well, guys that have been cut, Sills.
I can't remember. How did he do against my Eagles last year?
Your Eagles are stacked. You're the best team in the league, I think. Your Eagles are stacked. Don't measure them up against the Eagles. We're talking about the Cowboys and Dak. You pivoted on me.
The funny thing is, I'm the pro Daniel Jones one. Maggie's in.
I'm the anti-Daniel Jones. I know.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, here's why. Well, okay, I know Daboll well, I think, because he was Josh Allen's offensive coordinator, and I understand it. And I understand how good it looked after year one. And Allen, to his credit, and the team got Diggs and all that, and they really took off. I just can't tell if Daniel Jones was last year the anomaly or is last year the real thing. Because I watched him have fumbling problems and all of that stuff before, and I just don't know if he's totally fixed from all of that stuff. I want to wait and see.
I hear you. What sold me a little bit more, and again, the Vikings are by no means the purple people eaters from back in the day, but that playoff game showed me, okay, the lights are big, the moment's big, it's a playoff game on the road, and he was pretty flawless in that game. Again, not against a great defense, but that went a long way with me.
So last one for you, Jerry, and thanks for making time for us today. You've been in, a lot of stuff with Kevin Hart, and he's the number one, Eagles, and he's loud about it too. He had an epic appearance on the Manning cast where he just went after Eli in such a huge way. It was wild. How much sports debate do you guys get into Eagles-Giants stuff?
A good amount. Now you got to remember, we worked together last in like 2015, I think it was, on Think Like a Man 2. So I don't think he had a whole lot to go off of. But the Eagles historically have given the Giants. I mean, you go back to Deshaun Jackson running back a punt.
Yep.
You know, when they shouldn't have kicked it to him.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Eagles historically. I mean, I just even remember too. I looked ahead today on my show earlier. Giants Eagles Christmas Day on Monday.
Ooh.
That's in Philly. I'm terrified of that game. I just think the Eagles are so good, and I'm going to kill them with kindness. But they are just stacked. So yeah, Kevin and I used to go back and forth a lot on basketball too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm a Knick fan, so he won those arguments back then.
It's like catnip for someone like him. It's like, it's just a built-in punchline. The Jerry Ferrara podcast, it's on YouTube, it's on Twitter, it's on Twitch, it's on Facebook. Jerry, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. We're going to stack you up against the other celebrities who are going to be picking games. So we wish you the best of luck, sir.
If I run the table, I want to come back and defend the title at some point.
Love it.
There you go, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry Ferrara. Again, the Jerry Ferrara podcast. Find it YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. We'll talk to you soon, Jerry. Thanks. There you go. All right, we're off to a smashing success with our NFL celebrity game pickers.
Yeah, he got me caught up in a little Philly, New York thing. Actually, I don't know. I want to make a show bet with you on Daniel Jones. I think he is going to throw 10 more touchdowns than he did last year. That's a pretty big. I think he throws at least 25 touchdowns.
Yeah, but again, so we're throwing 25 touchdowns is fine. But
That's a 10 touchdown improvement.
I know, but and that would be great. But he's also now a $40 million a year quarterback.
He's also probably not going to throw 25 touchdowns, so I would take that bet, Maggie.
He might not.
He's barely thrown 25 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons combined.
I know.
Listen.
You're right.
Maggie, take that bet. That's a winner.
Hold on. First, we've got to pay off the Joe Burrow bet.
Wait, what?
That's now the one bet that Perloff lost that we have to pay off. Joe Burrow's making more annually than Justin Herbert. That was the bet. Perloff's got to eat the Skyline chili with no hands.
Yeah. Can we do double or nothing on Daniel Jones' CD total? By the way,
absolutely not.
Jerry mentioned that he wasn't throwing to anyone last year. Well, it's kind of the same group of scrubs this year too.
Well, with Waller, if he's not healthy.
But and Paris Campbell is added to it. But
now they have Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee.
I know. I mean, he's a rookie second-round pick. Do you really? I don't know.
Those are the most dangerous
I'm already
ones.
down on my 25 touchdown stake. But by the way, it is funny. You can improve by 10 touchdowns and still be kind of average.
Exactly. 855-2124-CBS. See you guys on the phones. We'll get to you in a moment. We promise coming up, we're going to rank the best games for Sunday. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. They're showing a replay of last night's Lions-Chiefs game on the NFL Network, and it's amazing. Fourth quarter, Chiefs come down to the 19-yard line, have 2nd and 2, doing whatever they want on offense, and they somehow lose about 5 yards on the next 2 plays. They were screwing around, Maggie, and they found out when you mess with the Detroit Lions, you pay the price.
Yeah, clearly.
That's going to be the way this year goes.
Yeah.
I think... and the funny thing is the Lions were not that high-octane team. They were like smart, disciplined, patient. Who are these Lions, Maggie?
Well, they're showing you that they could be versatile this year. Maybe they're just winning the game that's in front of them. Yeah. I mean, listen, Dan Campbell doing the fake punt early in the game, kind of, listen, the Chiefs end up taking the lead after that, so they obviously recovered, but you knew they were not messing around. And honestly, I didn't even think Detroit played great.
Well, they went 40 minutes of game time without scoring after that fake punt.
It was really just like Kansas City with the drops, which were egregious, and they missed Travis Kelce. We knew it. You only had 48 hours to prepare, so this was not like a regular Andy Reid can game plan, with no Tyreek Hill. It's like, no, this was just a, last-minute hyperextended knee, and clearly the rest of the receiving core was not ready to step up.
Yeah, I still think the Chiefs obviously should have won. I mean, they were leading in the fourth quarter at home. I think Mahomes kind of got sick of running and started sliding way too early. And if it was a playoff game, he could have just run for all those first downs, and they probably would have won. But I got to tell you, I'm worried about the Chiefs because last year Mahomes was limping around, and he had a great offensive line. This year's offensive line is, A, they're cheating. B, they're struggling. Yeah. C, the as you mentioned, when Kelce is banged up and the receivers are bad, I don't know. This all feels like an injury-plagued season ahead.
Well, hopefully Kelce comes back. You got 10 days until they go to Jacksonville. John is in Texas, wants to talk about the Chiefs-Lions. What's up, John?
Hello. Thanks for taking the call.
You got it, bud.
Last night's game, I was pretty surprised that Andy Reid didn't have his Chiefs a lot better prepared to go to battle without his number one offensive player. and number one defensive player.
Yeah. Chris Jones sitting in a suite with his two agents by his side looking on was an odd scene. Very bizarre.
Yeah, and then offensively, I mean, you know what you don't have to work with, which is might be the premier, tight end in the game.
Yep.
That, hey, pay a little more attention to the run, do a little more spin outs with Mahomes, because when he starts moving around, he's always a threat to run. That freezes the secondary. Hey, was he going to run or what? Or it starts to pull him in. Hey, then the receivers are open easy. It just did not look like Andy Reid was, prepared to.
I know, John, it was odd, too, and thank you so much for the phone call. It was odd because, as Perloff and I discussed even yesterday, I thought Kelsey being gone was going to be a huge factor in the game, and you took the side, Perloff, and I understand where you're coming from, which is Mahomes makes stars out of everybody. You don't have to be the greatest tight end ever to make this offense work, and he's found so many other guys that he's elevated, and last night, that just wasn't the case.
Well,
the wide receivers were not elevated by him, or just the drops or whatever, or Kadarius Toney dealing with a hamstring. Whatever the reasons were, he could not elevate the rest of the team past the Lions.
I thought everybody looked fine except for Kadarius Toney. And Sky Moore was just absent. But I thought Noah Vonleh or Noah Gray or whatever the tight end.
Noah Gray, Noah Vonleh.
I thought a lot of guys looked okay. Honestly, Kadarius Toney, I mean, listen, if he doesn't do those two plays, they probably win by 10 points. That was just a fluke. But I still don't quite understand. I maybe put on Mahomes too. Like what obviously we all saw that he was panicking out there. Couldn't they got him off the field?
Tony. Yeah, I think they felt like they couldn't afford to take any weapon off the field.
Why they had 6 other receivers there?
Maybe they want to make sure he keeps his confidence up. Here was Mahomes after the game last night talking about not having Travis Kelce available.
I mean, you're losing one of the best, I think the best tight end of all time. But other guys got to step up. I mean, it's going to have an impact on the game, but other guys got to step up, and they're going to have to step up in moments because I'm sure there'll be times he gets doubled. Just going to have to rely on these other guys that are young and talented to step up and make plays, and I believe that they will.
Well, I mean, he's putting a positive face on it, but, yeah, nobody was able to step up last night.
Yeah, well, yes. Yes and no. I mean, they kind of they sort of controlled the game. I don't think they'll take Toney out of that equation next week. So they get Jacksonville. I don't even know if Kelce, just not having Toney on the field will be a plus 7 points or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think those other guys, I wish they would throw to Sky Moore. He's really fast. He was good in the Super Bowl. I also wish this handball.
Don't you have to give a little credit to the Lions secondary then?
Not in what sense?
Well, if Sky Moore I think he had 1 drop out of his 3 targets.
3 targets.
I know, 3 targets.
He's their number 2 receiver.
I know, but he's got to get open. Like, was Mahomes not comfortable throwing towards him? Because I have to imagine he was looking for him.
I didn't see any play calls to Sky Moore. Did you? One of those 3 targets was a sort of a Hail Mary in the last play.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like they didn't call his number. He had 2 targets that were real targets. And even those, throw a screen pass to Sky Moore. Their screen game was unbelievable last night. They got a first down every time he threw a screen pass. I just worry Mahomes had to run a lot last night. Can he do that? It feels like that guy is kind of courting an injury every time he takes off.
Yeah, but that's his game. It's extending the plays.
Yeah.
It's just you can't take that out of him.
So he was hurt in 2020 and he was hurt in 2022. And he had a pretty good line. Well, he had a decent line in front of him then. And he had weapons. If he has to do this much playmaking, Maggie, he's not going to last. I would bet anything on that.
Let's do our top 3 games for this Sunday. We're going to leave the Monday night game out of it. Perloff and I are going to quickly rank our 3 best games for this week. Stu, we'll take a little music, whatever you decide. Maybe a little something underneath this. We're going to do our NFL picks coming up in just a little bit. But if you're asking me for my top 3 games this weekend in terms of intrigue, for me, 3 on the list is going to be Eagles-Patriots. I am very interested to see not only the Tom Brady celebration, what are they going to do for that guy? They said it's going to be unique.
Yeah, then it's going to be at halftime, so we probably won't see it, but that's okay.
Yeah. Statue? I don't know. Anyway.
But you can't bring I guess you could bring it on the field or the dolly, a lot of logistical issues.
It does seem a dolly. Oh, boy. So that would be number 3 to me. Number 2, I got to go with Dolphins-Chargers. I'm really curious, especially with the Chargers being a 3-point favorite. Very curious to see what happens there. And then Number one for me, I know this is going to sound a little bit odd maybe, but I think it's got to be Bengals-Browns. I'm super into that game, not just because of the Joe Burrow contract extension, which now means Perloff has to eat a bowl of Skyline chili with no hands. I'm curious to see about Deshaun Watson. I'm curious to see what he looks like. I mean, the Browns are one of those teams that could be terrible. They could be awesome. We have no clue.
Okay. I like those games, obviously, big ones. We didn't talk about these beforehand, so I do have one repeat. But my number 3 is Cowboys-Giants. The Dak Prescott week-by-week overreaction begins in front of the biggest crowd of the weekend. And I think Daniel Jones is going to show out here. Dak's won 10 in a row. A lot of storylines here. Number 2, I'm sorry I'm stealing this from you. I can't wait for a shootout. Dolphins, Chargers, Herbert, Tua. Suspect defense, hopefully, because we didn't get the shootout I wanted last night. I'm betting on this to be the big shootout. But my number 1, San Francisco at Pittsburgh. That's got everything. 2 great defenses, 2 possibly ascending young second-year quarterbacks. At least one, Kenny Pickett. I don't know if Brock Purdy's going to ascend, but to me, that game has so many different angles. Nick Bosa will be on the field. He made the flight, Maggie, apparently. Yeah, I'm surprised, actually. I'm surprised. You've been talking a lot about that game. Did that not break into your top 3?
It did not, but coming up next, we are going to do our Maggie and Perloff NFL picks. We're going to do the same format we did last season, which means 1 game against the spread, 1 over-under, and 1 player prop. So that's how we will make our picks, Maggie and Perloff style. We'll do that next after this CBS Sports Update. Here's Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
And the road to Las Vegas began last night. The season opener was any indication. It's certainly going to be very interesting. 3 quarterbacks taken in the first 4 picks of last April's draft. All 3 are starting week 1. Bryce Young, the top pick overall, makes his NFL debut against the Falcons, ready to take the next step.
It's going to take everything. It's going to take, myself, everyone to execute at the highest level, and for us to communicate and be on the same page, again, going up against a really good group. So, it's a great challenge for us.
However, he won't be throwing to DJ Chark, the Panthers receiver, out with a hamstring injury. The Texans' C.J. Stroud will face the Ravens in Baltimore, while Anthony Richardson makes his Colts debut against the Jaguars in Indy. Another wideout is out on Sunday. The Packers' Christian Watson also, because of a hamstring. Denzel Ward will be in the Browns lineup after being cleared from concussion protocol. At Wrigley today, Zach Gallen went the distance for his 15th win, allowed just 3 hits. The Diamondbacks blanked the Cubs by a score of 1-0. At the U.S. Open, Novak Djokovic took the first 2 sets from Ben Shelton. They're tied at 5 in the third. I'm Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio is everywhere, at home, in your car, and of course on your phone and tablet. Find us on your local affiliate, SiriusXM Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
A lot has happened so far in this show. Very important things, like Andrew Perloff has lost the bet on Joe Burrow. He will now eat a bowl of Skyline chili with no hands at a future date.
Yeah, we got to figure out some logistics about this. How do we get some Skyline chili? Should we do it here? We're not going to Cincinnati.
No, we'd have to order it. We'll figure all that out.
Yeah, there's delivery services that will bring it here.
Come hell or high water, we are getting that Skyline chili. And you are eating it.
Can we combine the bet and have Perloff drive to Cincinnati,
right.
eat it, and then come back?
And eat it face first. We had Andrew Whitworth, who joined us earlier, who called it shocking and egregious how Juwan Taylor was lining up last night against the Lions. That was interesting. Jerry Ferrara was our very first celebrity NFL game picker. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah, it's a weird word, but that'll work.
So he picked 5 games to put that out on our social medias. You can find it, Maggie and Perloff. Search us out.
What does Game Day call it, the celebrity who comes on?
I think they call it the celebrity picker.
Yeah. Prognosticator?
Yeah.
Okay.
Prognosticator is probably a nicer word. Picker sounds like you're picking your nose.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. Okay.
Yeah.
It was Jerry
Like
anyway.
picking a wedgie. But Jerry was great. He was awesome. He did none of those things. And now we have to get to, first let's do Shot of the Day.
He shoots!
And the Shot of the Day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. And week 1 of the NFL season also going to be brought to you by Casamigos on all season long. So earlier we talked to Jerry Ferrara, of course, Entourage, Power, Think Like a Man, Las Vegas. So many acting credits to his name. He also had the distinction of sitting next to Aaron Rodgers and Sauce Gardner at a Knicks-Heat playoff game. Here's what it was like.
I was there first. In walks in Aaron Rodgers and Sauce. And yeah, it definitely changed the vibe of the night. I didn't know that we were going to get so much action our way.
So wait, how much hoops does Aaron Rodgers know? Did you get to talk about the game with him?
Yeah, it was such a deep nerd basketball conversation. I can't even tell you. Oh my God, so deep. He really loves basketball. And what blew me away even more is when they both stood up and I'm like, wow, Sauce Gardner's taller than Aaron Rodgers. I'm trying not to like this Jets team. I'm a Giants fan. I needed like a sports intervention last week. But yeah, that was a great night.
Just looked it up. Sauce Gardner listed 6'3", 200 pounds.
Wow. Sauce Gardner is 6'3"?
Yeah. I mean, he looks so long and lanky, and he's got anyway. So that was Jerry Ferrara, and he was just our first celebrity picker. Next week we'll come up, and we have someone totally different planned, and we're going to have someone new every single week. Okay. What is going to be a mainstay here on the Maggie and Perloff show as well is Perloff and I making our NFL picks on Fridays. So we're going to do this like we did last year. 1 game over under, 1 game against the spread, 1 player prop. Let's hit it.
Maggie and Perloff's NFL picks.
All right, Andrew Perloff.
Yeah, I ran into a problem here.
Already? We didn't even start
There are 4
yet.
games I love, and I just don't want to pick the wrong one out of those games. So,
all of our lines coming courtesy of DraftKings.
Okay. I'm going to hone in on this one because I'm a realist.
Okay.
I want to bet against every rookie quarterback, but the one I want to bet against the most is the one I love the most.
Oh, it's hard.
I hope I'm not stealing any bets from you, but I want to take your Super Bowl pick, the Jags, -4.5 in Indy. Now, it's on the road, so that bothers me. After you do your picks, I'll tell you the 3 others I really wanted to do.
Okay.
So that's are we going to go, so you give me your pick, then I'll give my over-under.
Okay, so if we're talking about against the spread, number 1, to me, I got to go with the Denver Broncos. Give me the altitude. Week 1, they've been so good at home early in the season because they're well-conditioned where another team's coming in and they're going up against Stu's Raiders. I'm going to be honest, Stu. It's the Chandler Jones stuff that really put me over the edge here. What is going on with that guy? That can't be good right before a game unless it sort of galvanizes everyone, but I don't know if I see that coming. Now, tough because this is probably the healthiest that Garoppolo's ever going to be this season. However, and Devontae Adams is amazing. I've never loved the Raiders' defense. They've never been great. I don't trust McDaniels, and I think this is going to be a little new coach magic with Sean Payton, where coming out of the gates, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson are going to look good. I don't know how it's going to go the rest of the season, but I think they're going to be good here against the Raiders. Give me Denver laying the 4. Go ahead.
God, that is going to be one of the ugliest games in the history of the NFL. But I do like that. Okay. I hate going under, and I'm not going to go under week 1, right? What kind of jerk would do that? Going under with my week 1 pick.
I think it's smart, actually.
I don't know what the trends are, but I'll tell you 2 offenses who I have major question marks about. New Orleans and Tennessee. I think Tennessee might be sneaky challenging to the Jags this year. I think the Jags ultimately win that division, but I do feel like it's just going to be a slugfest. Derek Carr might take a little bit of time to get used to another new offense. There's just an unknown there. The game's in New Orleans, which makes me nervous. But I'm going to go under 42 Saints-Titans.
I like that pick. For me, I am going to pick an over week 1, even though I feel a little bit like a sucker doing that because, The offenses generally take a little bit to catch up, but
you're going Dolphins Chargers, aren't you?
no, the number's too high. I'm going with Bengals and Browns over 47.5. Obviously, I don't think there's going to be a weather issue that we have to worry about because, it's September right now. Doesn't look like there's rain in the forecast in Cleveland. You got Joe Burrow, newly minted, massive contract, still has all the great weapons that he had, improvements to the offensive line. And then for the Browns, is this offense going to look better? It's got to, right, with Deshaun Watson. So I'm making a little bit of a bet that Watson's going to look a little more like he did in Houston, less like he did last year. So give me over 47.5 Bengals-Browns.
Okay. All right, player prop. I'm staying in the same game as my pick. Colts, Jaguars. So I bet against my guy, Anthony Richardson, but 46.5 rushing yards, juice down to 120, minus 120. I mean, 46.5. What are we doing here,
nothing.
Mike? That's nothing, right?
It's Anthony Richardson. He can't throw.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What else is he going to do?
I feel like I have to take this gift here. Now, for some reason, that number just seems way too low to me, and I would have thought it maybe like minus 200 or something, but it's not. So I'm going to try 46.5 Anthony Richardson. You just said it. Who's he going to throw to?
Yeah, nobody.
And, listen, the Jags obviously know this as well. They'll probably game plan and make him throw the ball. But first game, I assume he'll get more comfortable as the season goes on. But right now, it's run. All right, what do you got?
Okay, my player prop, and we have not talked about this game nearly enough, and that is the Packers-Bears. Now, Christian Watson is out. Romeo Doubs, questionable. That doesn't play into my player prop at all. I'm just telling you things about that game. My player prop in this game is taking Bears wide receiver DJ Moore over 3.5 receptions.
Okay.
Juice to the over. It's minus 120, so you got to lay 120 to win 100. But I know that the corners are very good for Green Bay, but here's the thing. DJ Moore is the big offseason acquisition here for the Bears. I know Justin Fields, you could say the same thing about him that you said about Anthony Richardson. Can he throw the ball? Well, you're going to have to prove it, and I think they're going to want to come out of the gates kind of showing, hey, we've got this new shiny toy here. We got to let this Ferrari out of the garage. So 3.5 receptions. I think they're going to be force-feeding to DJ Moore, and I do think they're going to try to make a point, the Bears are, to show that Justin Fields can throw the ball. So to me, give me DJ Moore over 3.5 receptions. That's my player prop. So recap on Perloff.
Yeah, by the way, DJ Moore averages 6.5 catches a game. What is this? They really don't. Vegas does not have faith in Justin Fields as a passer yet. I love that bet. I might jump in on that too if you don't mind. Okay, to recap, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars minus 4.5 in Indy. I have Titans and Saints under 42 total. And I have Anthony Richardson rushing over 46.5 yards.
Okay, I have Denver laying the 4 points against Stu's Raiders. I've got Bengals and Browns over 47.5, and I have DJ Moore over 3.5 receptions in the Bears-Packers game. How big of the injuries from Green Bay? I mean, that's got to change things.
I got to tell you, I love Jordan Love, and I watched 2 preseason games, and Christian Watson, I don't know if he's any good. He had drops too. I think maybe he's a product of Aaron Rodgers last year. I need everyone to step up and support Jordan Love, my guy here. I do think that
positive vibes?
No, I mean, he didn't play well. Not to like the Chiefs receivers last night.
Thoughts and prayers? Why?
But I do think the Packers defense is pretty good.
I think they are too.
I think if they're Rashawn Gary, I saw a clip the other day, looks so super healthy and ready to go. What was the question about this game?
About the receivers, Dobbs and Watson. How much does it change things?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous for Jordan Love. I want him to really show out here and prove my whole offseason was not a waste of time, my Jordan Love. I'm still going to buy the Jordan Love jersey to put it next to the Jalen Hurts jersey. You know where I'm going there.
Yeah, I know.
What do you think? Are you worried about the Packers?
This game's really close. I believe the line is basically a pick 'em. It's 1.5 or something. And it's the Bears who are favored, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I picked the Bears to win the division. I went with the long shot in the NFC North. And now after watching how the Lions gutted out that win in Kansas City, I wish that I had taken the Lions and just sort of went with the favorite. But I'm going to ride with the Bears on this one. And I'm just not expecting a lot from the Packers, actually. I think it's going to be an adjustment period, and I think they're going to be fine but not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent to Aaron Rodgers' first year taking over for Brett Favre.
Fine, like 7-10.
Something like that. Nothing to like get worried about, but.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure people won't overreact if Jordan Love's not a Pro Bowler from day one.
Okay, so major games of the weekend. Colorado, Nebraska. I've already said this is a must-win for Colorado.
Right.
You got to keep the positive vibes going here against the Cornhuskers.
It's sort of a major game, but no game with Nebraska football is a major game.
Well, that's the Deion Sanders effect here. He can make even Nebraska football must-watch.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think you're going to think it's must-watch, then you're going to watch 5 minutes of this game and be like, oh, God. And then come back to it at the end and hope it's close.
No, it's going to be something. That's a must-watch. Alabama and Texas. Right now, Alabama touchdown favorite.
Yeah, I think nobody can predict what's going to happen here. Last year was shockingly close. Alabama came away 20-19. I honestly don't even think Nick Saban knows what his team is right now. I mean, how could he? It's so bizarre going a totally different style with Jalen Milroe. I can't wait for this game. Sark needs this. Much more than Deion needs a win over Nebraska. Sark needs a signature win because he's been there a few years now. He's got to hold on to Coach Arch Manning.
Yeah, see, I think that landing Arch gives him a lot more leeway. Like losing a game, if you lose by a touchdown to Alabama in Tuscaloosa, I don't think the pitchforks are coming out for Sark. I don't think that anyone's going to be calling for a change there because I think you'd be afraid that if you change coaches, that means Arch hits the portal, and I wouldn't want to do anything to upset him. I know that sounds crazy. I'm talking about like a 19-year-old, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know if he's loyal to Sark, if he's loyal to Texas. Who knows? I don't think it's that predictable because Sark, he's been okay.
Yeah.
But this is Texas. They have such huge expectations. Man, by the way, our SEC quarterback fantasy team, are all your quarterbacks playing this week? I think I have one bye. This is not good.
Wait, I didn't check. I think they're all playing.
The entire college slate is just completely terrible, as it always is in September.
No, I'm hoping for big things from my second overall pick, Connor Wegman, going up against Miami. So, yeah.
I think I have a guy, Joe Milton, going against Austin P.
There you go.
He's going to play 2 quarters.
Well, he could probably put up big numbers. So, massive college football weekend, and then we get into the real good stuff with the meat of the NFL schedule. And I think it was a good omen that we started. I know, sorry, Chiefs fans, but good omen. We started with an upset. We started with a really interesting and fun game, controversial.
What's the lead on Monday? I can tell you what it is right now.
Oh, go ahead.
It's Dak Prescott.
That would be the last game we would have watched on Sunday night.
Dak Prescott is good or Dak Prescott is bad. Everything, I mean, I don't think Deion is happening on Saturday, and Dak's interception rate seems to be an obsession with America.
Yeah, I'm going to go with one of my picks, which was Denver and laying the 4. I think the story Monday could be Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, how that looks. Anyway, thank you to Mike Samter. Thank you to Stu Kovacs. Thank you to Andrew Whitworth. Thank you to Jerry Ferrara, our very first celebrity picker of a new one next week. Thank you to the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers. Everybody, enjoy football this weekend. We'll see you Monday. We out.